I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
I'm going to be fine with your jokes, but I'm not sure about dark branding.
All right, how is everyone doing? It is June 1st, 2023. We are here, we're doing our thing. All right, so what do we have today? Oh, let's do the intro. Did we even do the intro last show? I don't think we did. Let's do the intro really quick. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be watching this. My name is Josh and welcome to my channel. On here we talk news, politics, and current events. It's Pride Month now. Shouts out to the gays out there. Shouts out to all the L's, the G's, the B's, the T's, the everything in between. But otherwise, what all do we have planned today? Okay, so let's see. What do we have? The Senate is quickly trying to pass the debt ceiling agreement forwarded by President Joe Biden and leader of the Democrats in the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy. After that, we're going to take a look at some of the sussiness going on down in Atlanta around the Cop City protests. After that, I want to take a look at an Idaho family who's challenging the a anti-trans law from passing. And we'll take a look at Texas. We'll kind of get an update on Texas's bill, Senate Bill 1933. Just kind of, we covered it about a month ago as it was making its way through the state Senate. And I kind of want to, as it heads to the governor's office, to the governor's desk, sorry. I want to take a look and see if there's been anything, any updates on it, if they changed anything, anything like that. After that, we'll watch some clips. We'll do some other stuff in the fun tertial. But for now, let's just jump right in to Senate talks. So let's take a look. Let me pull this up. Oh, I gotta change that. There we go. So the Biden administration has given up quite a few things for this nonsense debt ceiling non-catastrophe to pass over like it does every single year. Chief among them being cuts, or at least like one of the, I think, really damning ones is adding more work requirements to people who are already on food assistance, making it a little bit harder for people to get food. And now the bill has made it through the House, which I was kind of curious to see if it would, but it seems like it has, what's it called? It has passed. I'm looking at the votes right now. Looks like it did pass through the Senate with 313. Wow, a lot of Democrats, actually. 149 Republicans, 164 Democrats. Wow. Only, what is that? 116? Yeah, about 116 nays between both parties. The number's right down there at the bottom. But anyway, let's go take a look and see how this is turning out, shall we? All right. Senate races to wrap up Biden-McCarthy debt ceiling bill before default deadline. I don't know why I said audit. Let's zoom in just a bit. I need bigger text. I'm old. Right. Days away from the default crisis, the U.S. Senate dashed on Thursday to wrap up work on a debt ceiling and budget cuts package that overwhelmingly cleared the House. Oh, yeah. Let's actually. Here's what's in it. Okay. There we go. Yeah. 2-year debt limit suspension. The agreement would keep non-defense spending roughly flat in the 2024 fiscal year and increase it by 1% the following year, as well as suspend the debt limit until January of 2025, past the next presidential election. For the next fiscal year, the bill matches Biden's proposed defense budget of $886 billion and allots $704 billion for non-defense spending. Lovely. Thumbs down for sure. Absolutely. What really gets me about this is Biden and his administration gave up so fucking much just for what, a couple cuts? Like stuff that didn't even need to be cut. It's ridiculous. Like, we're really going to talk about budgeting here while approving, 886 billion more dollars going to defense spending. Like, of course. Legislation aims to limit the federal budget growth to 1% for the next 6 years, but that provision would not be enforceable starting in 2025. Overall, the Congressional Budget Office projected Tuesday that the bill would reduce the budget deficits by $1.5 trillion over the next decade. Do you know how you could also close that gap? You could increase taxes on the wealthiest Americans among us. But, the agreement, Veterans Care, the agreement would fully fund medical care for veterans at the levels included in Biden's proposed 24 budget blueprint. Okay, so basically no extra money, just the exact money that they were already going to put into the budget, including a fund dedicated to veterans who have been exposed to toxic substances or environmental hazards. Biden sought $20.3 billion for the Toxic Exposure Fund in his budget. That's at least something. That's one good thing, I suppose. Unspent COVID money. The agreement would rescind about $30 billion in unspent coronavirus relief money that Congress approved through previous bills. It claws back unobligated money from dozens of federal programs that received aid during the pandemic, including rental assistance, small business loans, and broadband for rural areas. Cool. So if you wanted broadband and you live in a rural area, go fuck yourself. Legislation protects pandemic funding for veterans' medical care, housing assistance, the Indian Health Service, and some $5 billion for a program focused on rapidly developing the next generation of COVID-19 vaccines and treatments. Lovely. IRS funding. Republicans targeted money that the IRS was allotted last year to crack down on tax fraud. The bill bites into some IRS funding, rescinding $1.4 billion. Budget scorekeepers said the change would increase deficits by $900 million because less enforcement. What the fuck is the White House has said that the deal also includes an agreement to take $20 billion from the IRS over the next 2 years and use that money for other non-defense. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, man. Jesus. Like, what's really funny is they're talking about, we really need to cut the budget. We really need to get control of our debt here. Meanwhile, costing us $900 million again. Like this is a $900 million cost that we're eating to pick up what? 1.4 billion? Like, fucking stupid. And something that's actually, and keep in mind, the only reason why Republicans want this is because, their donors told them, hey, you need to get the IRS off our backs. That's the only reason. The agreement would expand work requirements for the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, SNAP. Let's see, a longtime Republican priority, but the changes are pared down from the House-passed debt ceiling bill. Work requirements already exist for most able-bodied adults between the ages of 18 and 49. The bill would phase in higher age limits, bringing the maximum age to 54 by 2025. But the provision expires, bringing the maximum age down to age 49 5 years later in 2030. So what the fuck is the point of increasing it then? Ay, ay, ay. And keep in mind, they're going to try to frame this, and I've already heard McCarthy try to frame this as if you're some 20-year-old sitting on the couch. But keep in mind, considering that they've now increased this to 54, the reality is there's probably going to be just as many. I'd be interested to see the numbers of how many older Americans end up losing their SNAP benefits now, due to this bill. This is just kicking more people off of food stamps. Democrats also won some expanded benefits for veterans, homeless people, and young people aging out of foster care. That would also expire in 2030, according to the agreement. The agreement would also make it slightly harder for states to waive work requirements for SNAP for certain individuals. Current law allows states to issue some exemptions to the work rules on a discretionary basis, but limits how many people can be exempted. The agreement would lower the number of exemptions that a state can issue and curb states' ability to carry over the number of exemptions they can hand out from month to month. Lovely. The agreement would also make changes to temporary assistance to needy families programs, which gives cash aid to families with children. Let's see. While not going as far as the House bill had proposed, the deal would make adjustments to a credit that allows states to require fewer recipients to work, updating and readjusting the credit to make it harder for states to avoid. Let's see. Speeding up money projects. The deal puts in place changes in the National Environment Policy Act for the first time in nearly 4 decades that would designate a single lead agency to develop and schedule environmental reviews. In hopes of streamlining the process, it also simplifies some of the requirements for environmental reviews, including placing length limitations on environmental assessments and impact statements. Great. Let's see. Also, simplifies some of the requirements for environmental reviews. Okay. Including placing length limitations in environmental assessments. Oh, my goodness. Agencies will be given 1 year to complete environmental reviews, and projects that are deemed to have complex impacts on the environment will need to be reviewed within 2 years. The bill will also gives special treatment to the Mountain Valley Pipeline, a West Virginia natural gas pipeline championed by Senator Joe Manchin and Shelley Moore Capito. What the fuck is this? What is this? Mountain Valley Pipeline. Mountain Valley Pipeline. Debt ceiling deal bulldozes Mountain Valley Pipelines. Let's see. Manchin could get a gas pipeline out of the debt ceiling. Oh, lovely. If I do Wikipedia, let's see. Natural gas pipeline. I want to know who raised the debt ceiling. Debt ceiling includes surprise approval, natural gas pipeline. Fucking. And like, this is the nuts thing, is that Biden would allow this to even be put in here. Meanwhile, Joe Manchin has done everything he possibly can to hold up his agenda. And he still gives him this type of shit. Let's see. Manchin. I want to see if he's fucking invested into this. Let's see. Ooh, here we go. Let's see. Wall Street Journal. No, this is opinion. I don't. CNN. Manchin could get. Okay, fine. We'll see. We'll see if. I want to know if. Let's see. Manchin's months-long effort to greenlight the controversial a project that will pipe methane gas across parts of West Virginia and Virginia is likely to prevail. Manchin helped secure a provision in the deal that would compel federal agencies to approve all remaining permits for the of course, the conservative Democrat from the who's been critical. All of a sudden, White House did their while attaching the pipeline must pass legislation. Delighted, literally. They're changing the rules. Environmental groups exhort. Yeah, fuck this guy. Officials say they defended Biden's major climate law and the debt ceiling. 300-mile-long pipeline which transport gas from Virginia's Marcellus and Utica shale areas to Virginia. The pipeline would cross waterways and federal national forest lands, which is why it went through complex. The project has been severely delayed in part because several court challenges. Let's see. Tim Kaine, Democrat for Virginia, also plans to file a Senate amendment. It's just that. I want to know why the fuck, but like, we already know Joe Manchin is already very well connected to the oil industry. MVP and debt ceiling agreement. What the fuck? Yeah, I want to know how financially what's it called? Why debt ceiling deal angers client? Yeah, no shit. But I want to know if he's making money off of this. I have no doubt that he probably is through donations, but I'm curious if he's like I'd be interested to know if he's like financially tied to this. I wouldn't be shocked. Manchin introduced third version of permitting reform bill. Bill declares permit violations, water quality permits thrown out of time. Joe Manchin, other MVP proponents. Ignoring the facts. Okay. I'll have to do some digging. I'm like super curious. This dude is like easily one of the most corrupt politicians we have, but anyway. Agencies will give him okay. Student loans. Republicans have long sought to reel back the Biden administration's effort to provide student loan relief and aid to millions of borrowers during the coronavirus pandemic. While the GOP proposal to rescind the White House's plan to waive $10,000 to $20,000 in debt for nearly all borrowers failed to make it into the package, Biden agreed to put an end to the pause on student loan. Oh my God, you fucking idiot. The fate of Biden's broader student loan relief, meanwhile, will be decided at the Supreme Court, which is dominated 6-3 by conservative wing. During oral arguments in the case, several of the justices expressed deep skepticism about the legality of Biden's plan. A decision is expected before the end of June. Great. What's left out? Let's see. House Republicans passed legislation last month that would have created new work requirements for some Medicaid recipients. That was left out of the final agreement. The idea faced stiff opposition from the White House and congressional Democrats, who said it would lead to few people able to afford food or health care without actually increasing the number of people in the workforce. Also absent from the final deal is the GOP proposal to repeal many of the clean energy tax credits Democrats passed in party line votes last year, boost the production and consumption of clean energy. McCarthy and Republicans have argued that the tax breaks distort the market and waste tax. I'm sorry, distorting the market. It's not like the stock market does that constantly with how much speculation there is. Like distorting the stock market. That just means changing it, honestly. The White House has defended the tax credits as resulting in hundreds of billions of dollars in private sector investments, creating thousands of manufacturing jobs in the U.S. Lovely. So essentially, what we got was less funding for the IRS, which is going to cost us $900 million, clawing back COVID money that could have been used for even like small, like local projects could have been used in that. Let's see. We got some money for veterans care, but honestly, like this $20 billion for toxic exposure is kind of it. Let's see. We added more work requirements, kicking more people off of food assistance if they need it. Joe Manchin got a pipeline along with reducing. Yeah, it looks like making it a little bit, more difficult for the EPA to actually do their impact assessments, which is great. And Biden fucking folded on student loans. So, from a political standpoint, I honestly think the student loan thing is going to end up being what sinks Biden for a lot of young people. Because keep in mind, if you're a young person, right? If you like went to school, racked up like an ungodly amount of debt, right? You did all of that. And Joe Biden Donald Trump actually, during the coronavirus, put your payments on pause because you obviously couldn't pay them. And Joe Biden continued that along with forwarding a proposal to at the very least forgive a very small fraction, a smaller fraction than what he had initially promised during the campaign. And now it looks like he's not even going to do that. So, if you're like a young person, with an election coming up, this is the type of dumb shit that Democrats do right before elections to guarantee losses. Like, utterly stupid. But anyway, let's get back. That overwhelmingly cleared the House, aiming to send it to Joe Biden's desk to become law before fast approaching deadline. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said the chamber was digging into the bill that Biden negotiated with McCarthy and would keep working until the job is done. Keep in mind, Bernie Sanders isn't even voting for this shit. Biden should have just invoked the 14th, called it a day, and done none of this shit. But unfortunately, he's a coward. Let's see. He warned of a crush of ideas from senators anxious to revise the bill's budgeting cuts and environmental policy changes, but said there is no good reason, none, to bring this process down to the wire. Passage in the Senate will require cooperation between Democrats and Republicans, much the way the narrowly divided House was able to approve the compromise late Wednesday night. Fast action is vital if Washington is to meet next Monday's deadline, when Treasury has said the U.S. will start running short of cash to pay its bills, risking a devastating default. Having remained largely on the sidelines during much of the Biden-McCarthy negotiations, several senators are insisting on debate over their ideas to reshape the package, but making any changes at this stage seemed unlikely. And even opponents of the final deal say they will not hold it up. Like Schumer, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell signaled he wanted to waste no time. Touting the House package with its budget cuts, McConnell said Thursday, the Senate has a chance to make that important progress a reality. Hard-fought compromise pleased few in its entirety, but lawmakers assessed it was better than the alternative, economic upheaval at home and abroad if Congress failed to act. Tensions had run high in the House as hard right Republicans refused the deal, but Biden and McCarthy assembled a bipartisan coalition to push past the robust 314 to 117 vote. So like, there are people online who will say like, who will say like stuff like, the uniparty and stuff like that. And while they're not, while like a lot of that is like conspiratorial, keep in mind there is a understanding between both parties that at the end of the day, they're not going to push against or do anything that corporate donors have told them not to. But speaking of people who the donors don't tell anything to, I want to see what Bernie Sanders had to say about this.
The House is expected to pass the debt ceiling deal. Once it does, the bill's going to head to the Senate, where Senate Majority Leader Schumer has promised quick action.
I cannot stress enough that we have no margin.
Goddamn, dude.
For error. Either we proceed quickly and send this bipartisan agreement to the president's desk, or the federal government will default for the first time ever.
There are still lots of timing negotiations going on in the Senate. Several senators have already said they will be voting no. Among them, Bernie Sanders. Sanders said that while the debt ceiling deal could have been much worse, he cannot, quote, vote for a bill that takes nutrition assistance away from women, infants, children, and seniors.
And keep in mind, the people who are taking assistance from women, infants, and children, that's the Republican Party. The Republican Party are the ones who are proposing cuts that will take food out of the mouth of children. That's the pro-life party position.
And that fast tracks the, quote, disastrous Mountain Valley pipeline at a time that the future of the world is literally at stake. And Senator Sanders, an independent of Vermont, and chair of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, joins me now. Senator, was this a hard or easy decision to get to on this vote once you were able to survey the 99 pages of the deal?
It was not a difficult decision. Look, the bottom line is, in America today, we have more income and wealth inequality than we've ever had. People on top doing phenomenally well, middle class struggling, lower income people really facing desperate times. And you don't do deficit reduction in any moral sense on the backs of some of the people in this country who are barely making it right now. Meanwhile, the wealthiest people in this country who are doing phenomenally well will pay no more in taxes. Large corporations that have raised profits, seen huge increases in their profits in recent years, they're not going to be asked to pay a nickel more in taxes. As you indicated, there's going to be a disastrous pipeline to be expedited at a time when the scientists tell us we got to do exactly the opposite, cut back on fossil fuel production. So to my mind, and I should also add, in 2-year time, a $56 billion increase in military spending, despite the fact that the Pentagon is the only federal agency not to have been audited. Massive waste and fraud in the Pentagon to get $56 billion more.
Haven't they like never passed an audit also? Which doesn't really shock me that much. It's the military. Like the idea that they're not going to pass an audit kind of makes sense to me. There's also probably a lot of just like, like redacted information or redacted charges basically. But like, when we talk about our debt, when we talk about our government's like economic health in this country, there are basically two ways that you solve that. You can either increase taxes or you can cut spending. Now, at the end of the day, which one you pick and where and how you go about both of those things also tell us like where your priorities lie. Like a combination of those things and where you make those cuts and or where you increase those taxes tell us a lot about our society's priorities basically. Because it's like, all right, could we increase taxes? Yeah, absolutely. We could 100% increase taxes. Now the question becomes, who do we increase them on? How do we, control those increases? Well, from my point of view, we increase taxes on the wealthiest 1% on the stock market. There are a lot of solutions that you could implement that would not affect regular, everyday Americans, would not increase their taxes, but would claw back a lot of money from people who are incredibly wealthy. But it's not what we did. We didn't increase taxes. We instead decided to cut spending. And we didn't decide to cut spending from one of our largest expenditures, that being defense. For all of you, all of you anti-Ukraine folks, this should bug the shit out of you too. What we decided to do instead was make budget cuts to the IRS, which is basically the money grabbing apparatus that we have, the tax collecting apparatus that we have. We took money out of that, which again, I think we looked at it, is like a $7 return for every dollar you spend on the IRS. And instead we decided less people should be getting food, less people should get help with their medical bills, less people should get help, or well in this case, nobody is going to get help with their student loan debt. So when it comes down to it, we decided to take from the bottom of our society, the people who are already in need of assistance. That is where we decided to trim the fat. There are going to be people who starve because of these cuts to SNAP. There are going to be children who are more malnourished because of these cuts to SNAP. We already solved 50% of child hungriness, or what was it? I think it was child food insecurity. We already solved a lot of that during COVID. And then we just decided, nah, never mind. We're not going to continue doing that. And it went right back up. So, I mean, this all at the end of the day comes down to where your priorities lead you and what they actually are. This is revealing, regardless of what the Biden administration wants to say. This is under his administration. And regardless of whether they'll say they like it or not, these are the priorities that they chose. These are the priorities right here. Making sure less people get food, less money is collected by the government, and making sure Joe Manchin gets a pipeline that he's going to get a lot of campaign donations from, and or a lot of payment because he probably has investments into it. That's what we did this for. We took money out of your mouth so Joe Manchin can put a fucking pipeline in and make a couple hundreds of thousands of dollars on top of already being a U.S. senator, because being a U.S. senator wasn't enough for him. It should have already been impeached. Fuck Joe Manchin.
Over the next 2 years.
So here's to me the sort of argument for the deals, to the extent there is one. And I don't think anyone on the Democratic side is particularly enthusiastic about this deal. In fact, you just may have seen Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, who's a very centrist member of Congress. She's not like waving a flag of victory around this deal. She's going to vote for it. Basically, it goes like this. There is divided government, right? Spending and appropriations constitutionally originates in the House. It's going to have to be, whatever the government spends this year, is going to have to be the product of some sort of compromise between a Republican-controlled House and Democratic-controlled Senate and a White House. That's just the case. And this is basically about what you would expect from that.
And keep in mind, we already have a process for that. This isn't the same thing as going over like the expenditures. This isn't passing a budget resolution, right? Like, that's not what this is. Like, every single year we have a budget debate, and I'm fine with us having a budget debate. You can, if you want to bring up all of this stuff in a budget debate, that's fine. But the reason why the Republican Party specifically always seizes on the debt limit is so that they can basically have a cliff to drive off of. So they can say, you either do what we want, even though, there aren't going to be a negotiation of 50-50. You get some of you want, we get some of what we want. No, they do this because they are willing to blow up the economy, or at the very least, they pretend like they are willing to blow up the economy unless they get their priorities. And Biden should have already known about this. He should have already been prepared for this. And should have already said, go fuck yourselves. We'll be fine. Like, we're not going to do this debt ceiling nonsense. You can either destroy the economy or you can shut the fuck up and come back during the normal budgeting process.
Kind of divided government.
That's a reasonable argument. I don't think it's quite accurate. I think we could have done better through the normal appropriations process. But what we are surrendering to is the Republican hijacking of the appropriations process,
right,
and basically holding the world's economy hostage, and we're surrendering to that. And Chris,
and they
let's
shouldn't.
be very
They're
clear.
not going to do it.
In
Too much of their party.
they're going to be back again, and we're going to go through this whole process again. So, you know,
and if it's a Republican president, they're not going to talk about it at all. They're just going to increase it,
nowhere near as bad
we won't hear
as
any word about
Republican
it because Democrats aren't,
which would have been devastated.
Aren't willing to do the same. They're not willing to put the entire world economy at risk.
Mountain Valley Project. Now, this is a pipeline that would bring natural gas down through Virginia and West Virginia into parts of the Southeast. This has been hung up in courts for a long time. It is a priority of Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who you see there. There is a special language in there that protects this from judicial review, just statutorily just comes in, takes it out of the courts, gives it the permits it needs to get built. And the craziest thing about this is Tim Kaine, who represents the state of Virginia, through which the pipeline would run, says that no one from the White House called him or asked him about this, and he just found out about it in the press. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it is outrageous. I mean, and the bottom line, it's not only how they treated Tim. The bottom line is caving into Manchin, caving into the fossil fuel industry. Look, it is nobody who's watching,
which he's invested in,
doesn't understand that climate change is an existential threat to this country and the world. We got to transform our energy system, not build more pipelines. So this is just one more reason why I think the no vote is appropriate.
There is going to be an appropriations process after this.
Yep.
And one of the silver linings here, as I understand it, is that if the no deal is struck, the cuts end up being slightly more favorable to Democrats than a deal being struck because defense spending will be capped in a no-deal scenario. Do you think that gives you a little bit of leverage as you go through the quote-unquote normal appropriations
defense spending? And it's always like defense spending for what?
The answer is we will see.
Like, we're not fighting wars. We're not, we're not in conflict with anybody right now, but we're spending all this money on defense. You know what is happening right now? People aren't getting enough food, aren't getting enough nutrition. Kids aren't eating enough food. That is actually happening. But instead, we spend billions of dollars on more fucking missiles and more defense spending. And as you know, and I'm supportive. I'm supportive of Ukraine and their war against Russia. I got no problem with that. But when we decide that the hunger of Americans is a afterthought to the the ever increasing, the nonstop increases to defense contractors, then we have a problem. We have a serious problem.
Certainly, our Republican friends wanted to actually increase military spending far more than is in this legislation.
Because they don't care about the debt or the deficit.
About the deficit.
That's why they,
when it comes to tax breaks for billionaires and spending more money on the military.
All right, Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the Republican pushed tax cuts from the Trump administration are a big factor into why we're just not taking in enough tax dollars. We're just not doing it. We're continuing a lot of the programs that we always have that are good programs, good popular programs, but we just decided, during the Trump administration, they decided to cut a lot of taxes for very wealthy Americans, which cost us, let's see, can I find the number? Let's see, Trump tax cuts cost. Yep, let's see. Actually, here, let me pick, let's see, political analysis from 2018. Yep, $2.3 trillion. I think this is over 10 years. Yep, yeah. So, yeah, using the same approach, Politico found the administration could reap extra revenue of $2.3 trillion if the economy lives up to the assumption. Can I get like the number? Okay. I want a more, no. Okay, fine. Center for American Progress. Let's see. Tax cuts are primarily responsible for increasing. Yep. Okay, sure. I'll take Center for American Progress. Let's take a look. God damn it. I don't want to read this entire article. I just want, give me like the top of the line. Center on Budget and Policy. Who do I? Heritage Founding. 3, Committee for Responsible. Senate? Can we take the extending would add 3.5 to the deficit? Yeah. Extending Trump tax cuts would add $3.5 trillion to the deficit, according to Congressional Budget Office. And, you know, and then they cry about the fucking debt and the deficit every time. But okay. So let's take a look here. So, what do we got? Have you heard of Cop City? In Atlanta, there is an attempt to build a like fucking Avengers campus, but for police only, some kind of crazy ass. Can I see the where's like the Cop City thing? Get a job, loser. Says the guy who's chatting right now. Cop City plan. I want to see like, cause I know they drew up some plans. I want to see what the you don't pay taxes. Shut the fuck up. Vampire Hunter, should I just ban you since you always come in here and spew your mental health disorders? What is this? Okay, let's see. Leadership building. Okay, this is what I want. Oh my god, this is like shit quality. Oh, is this it? Why are these all in such low res? I want to see like the good. Is this it? Can I see this? Will this have the legend? Let's see. God damn it. I want to see what like the, okay, this is going to be really hard to read then. Oh my god, I can't read any of that. This is like awful quality. Why did they upload this? Like, why would you upload this? Giraffe site. Okay, so yeah. It's like a whole ass fucking like campus. Fucking leadership building, classrooms, auditoriums, housing. Oh my goodness. Sheesh. Training fire station. Yeah, it's like, it's a whole ass campus. But anyway, point is, so Atlanta's going through a bit of a bit of a protest wave over this, and in the process, some activists have been arrested. So let's go take a look. And here I thought this was America. Oh, maybe I should get that sound drop. So let's go take a look to see what all is going on. Police on Wednesday arrested 3 Atlanta organizers who have been aiding protesters against the city's proposed fire and police training center, striking at the structure that supports the fight against what opponents derisively call Cop City. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation announced its agents and Atlanta police had arrested 3 leaders of the Atlanta Solidarity Fund, which has bailed out protesters and helped them find lawyers. Is that supposed to be illegal? Don't you have a right to legal counsel? Okay. Charged with money laundering and charity fraud are Marlon Scott Kotz, 39, of Atlanta, Savannah Patterson, and Adele McClain. State investigators said they found evidence linking all 3 to financial crimes. Police executed warrants Wednesday morning at a house owned by Kotz and McClain. That is emblazoned with the anti-police graffiti in an otherwise gentrified neighborhood east of downtown Atlanta. Okay. Attorney Don Samuel, who was representing the 3 activists, said Wednesday afternoon that he had not yet seen the arrest warrants and was trying to determine the basis for the charges. So they just, wait. How is it that their lawyer hasn't been able to see their warrants or charges? Okay. I know what the crimes are that are alleged, but I don't know exactly what the state's alleging that these 3 people did or how they supposedly engaged in charity fraud. Let's see. Prosecutors said the three would likely make their initial appearances before a judge on Thursday. McLean, Couts, and Patterson are respectively the CEO, Chief Financial Officer, and Secretary of the Network for Strong Communities, which was incorporated in 2020 and runs the Atlanta Solidarity Fund. Okay. Lauren Regan, Executive Director of the Civil Liberties Defense Center, called the arrest an, quote, extreme provocation in a statement. Bailing out protesters who exercise their constitutionally protected right is simply not a crime. In fact, it is historically grounded tradition in the very same social and political movement that the city of Atlanta prides itself on. Someone had to bail out civil rights activists in the 60s. I think we can all agree the community support isn't a crime. True. More than 40 people have been charged with domestic terrorism. Okay. In connection with, I find it really funny that, like, we have some we have some charges of domestic terrorism from protesters. And yet, there are people walking into Targets and threatening them with bomb threats while, and what's the word? And defacing property. I really enjoy that, and harassing people. Like, sure. Protesters are domestic terrorists now. Gotcha. Connection with protests over Atlanta Public Safety Training. Yeah, Cop City. A cause that has garnered international attention since authorities clearing the protesters' camp in South River Forest fatally shot an environmental activist in January. Officials say the officers fired in self-defense after the protester shooter. Oh, yeah. Hasn't this been pretty much proven to be bullshit that it was not in self-defense? Because, what was it? Georgia police shooting Cop City, I guess. If I type in Cop City, will it like give me let's see, Atlanta Cop City protest killed by officers. Here we go. Medical examiner found sustained gunshot. Yeah, didn't they shoot him like a fuck ton of times too? Can I get this person's name, please? Or am I not going to get to know their name? Is that just not? Autopsy found no soot, stippled searing, or gunpowder residue. So yeah, complete bullshit then. They just fucking executed the guy. Lovely. More than 40, right. Kotz himself predicted in a February statement that investigators were trying to build criminal case against protesters using Georgia's racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations law. Oh, it's RICO's. Okay. Yeah, just say RICO charges. Goddamn. What are you doing, NPR? That law allows prosecutors to bring charges against, we know how RICO law. RICO is a felony charge that carries stiff penalties, a prison term of 5 to 20 years, a fine of $25,000, or 3 times the amount of money gained from the criminal activity. Why do we not have this for like financial crimes? Like, you have to pay up 3 times what you like. I love how for financial crimes it's like a flat fine that, a flat fine that if it doesn't exceed the amount of money you made, it's actually just it won't actually create a negative balance. Like, this is targeting of organizers and movements by the police in the state. Kamau Franklin of Community Movement Builders said in a statement, bail funds have been part of organizing in civil rights movement and labor movements. Fight back against Cop City and political arrests of our friends and comrades. In a statement issued after the arrest, Governor Brian Kemp said that the state would track down every member of the criminal organization, from violent foot soldiers to their uncaring leaders. Yeah, of course. Yeah, they have to make it. God, you know what's crazy too isn't Georgia like pretty blue? But I'd have to look into. I don't know the specifics of Georgia politics, but like they've gone blue the last 2 elections. So I'm assuming there's like a really big discrepancy between the state government and like the actual voting population. These criminals facilitated and encouraged domestic terrorism with no regard for others, watching as communities face destructive consequences for the. Here in Georgia, what does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything. Like, domestic terrorism, you would have to actually like prove that, but like no regard for others, communities face destructive consequences. Like, okay, why don't you say what those consequences were? Attorney General Chris Carr, also a Republican, pledged to, quote, not rest until we have held accountable every person who has funded, organized, and participated in this violence and intimidation. What violence? What intimidation? Activists nationwide have joined the protest movement, arguing that the 84-acre center would train officers to become more militarized and quell dissent while hundreds of trees are cut down, worsening flood and climate change. I love that there are protesters who are like, but about the trees, guys. Like, keep in mind, this entire facility is built to more militarize and like train these kinds of guys, train police forces around the what's it called, the country. Atlanta City Council approved the training center in 2021, saying a state-of-the-art campus would replace substandard offerings and boost police morale. Because the fuck about police morale, which is beset by hiring and retention struggles in the wake of the violent nationwide protests against police brutality. Look, let's be clear. If your morality went down, if you were really hit by the fact that people were protesting, your basically sector's brutality and injustice, then maybe you should like shut the fuck up and listen to people. Like, maybe you shouldn't be a cop also. If you can't handle a little bit of criticism, don't be a police officer. How about that? City is tasking the private Atlanta Police Foundation with building the complex, of course, and it's privately held, naturally, promising to pay $67 million over time. The remainder of the $90 million complex would come from private funds. Foundation work is ongoing. The complex. So yeah, this $67 million to train police to more over-police neighborhoods. That's great. That's exactly what we need in America. What is this? Selling off Yeezy brand. Oh man. Well, none of the new ones. I got really distracted by this Yeezy thing. None of the new Yeezys are any good. The first two are the only good ones. Jesus Christ, though. Fucking wild. Can I? Let's see.
We are staying on top of breaking news in Atlanta. The GBI announced the arrest of 3 people for criminal acts connected to the future site of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center.
Criminal acts.
This is video of police raiding a home on Mason Avenue Northeast in East Atlanta. 3 people were arrested, then charged with money laundering and charity fraud.
What the fuck is this? Money laundering. Okay, I want everyone to keep in mind, this is what they brought for money laundering and charity fraud. They brought dudes with, like, this is so emblematic of the approach that is going to be instilled in police through Cop City. Like, keep in mind, these are minor, like charity fraud. And you show up in fucking SWAT gear, an AR-15, a fucking balaclava. What do they think is going to fucking happen? But this is policing in the United States. You know, when it's when it's people on Wall Street getting arrested. Like, where was the let's see. I remember there was that one guy. Like, there was one fucking guy who got arrested during the financial crash. Oh, but I can't. No, these are all, yeah, like, this is them protecting the wealthy, as always. This is from a fucking movie. Hey, that's Leonardo DiCaprio. Look at that. Can I find, like, them actually arresting, like, somebody wealthy? Who's like a big, I'm trying to think, oh, wait, what am I thinking? No. Wall Street. Oh, I don't know what the dude's name. It was like one dude who actually got arrested for all of the crash. Can I find that one? Oh yeah, it's this guy. Okay, show me this guy. Where is he? Why the only one top banker? Yeah. What is this fucker's name? Kareem, on the evening of the walked out of his Times Square apartment with his brother at Yale. Okay, Kareem, this guy. Okay, cool. This is what I wanted. Oh wait, I want this. Stop. I want Google. I want to see if there's pictures of him, of this fucker getting arrested. And there's not. Charged with, yeah, like, these fucking Wall Street, like, rich fucks do not get the fucking dog. Like, They destroy the economy. They don't get the dogs. They don't get the AR-15s. It's fucking activists.
The training center site, which protesters call Cop City, has been controversial. Environmental advocates say construction is destroying trees because a portion of the facility is set to be built at the South River Forest. The GBI did not release more details about these alleged criminal acts.
Of course they didn't.
There have been about 24 arrests related to protests. In the last 10 minutes, Governor Brian Kemp put out a statement.
Right, we already saw that. What is this?
Years of controversy and conflict, opposition and argument too. It all comes to a head 1 week from today. In 7 days, we will see one of Atlanta's most anticipated city council votes. We'll add.
What the fuck is going on? Okay. Let's see. Video shows Atlanta cops chaos that ended. People facing terrorism charges.
Nearly 24 people are charged with domestic terrorism after a violent protest at a police training center in Atlanta. Video shows dozens of people lighting vehicles on fire using Molotov cocktails and fireworks at the protest on March 5th. Dubbed Cop City, activists argue the construction of a tactical compound would then lead to the destruction of the forest. In January, amidst an Atlanta police...
Wait, can I see some of that footage?
Department and Georgia State Patrol raid of the area, a 26-year-old man was shot and killed.
What the fuck is this? What the fuck was that? Like, what? Who the fuck were they shooting? Adam Smasher? What the fuck was that? Keep in mind, that's a fucking unarmed American. That guy, there's been no evidence to suggest that he had a firearm on him. Dude got fucking turned to Swiss cheese.
Body camera video
Jesus
of the
Christ.
was by the Atlanta Police Department.
Was that body camera?
Determined Georgia State troopers were responsible for the shooting.
Whoa, state trooper shock.
Esteban Paez Turan, known publicly as Tortuga, was staying in a tent during the raid. He died as a result of his injuries.
Yeah, no shit. They unloaded like what? They fucking unloaded like every munition they possibly had on him. Jesus Christ. Like, bruh. I'd be surprised if his fucking limbs are even still intact after all of that.
Video of the March 5th raid shows dozens of people descending on the area where multiple items were set on fire. Smoke spreads across the field as a car and tractor are set ablaze. Multiple times what appear to be fireworks go off. Video catches officers jump out of the way as one erupts near them. Investigators later detained 35 people, saying only 2 people who were arrested are from Georgia. The rest came from across the country and some from other countries.
I love the idea that fireworks are domestic terrorism, but there's like militias up in Michigan who you know, train every single day to overthrow the government. Not domestic terrorists. Love that.
Stop Cop City organized a week-long event called Mass Mobilization in Atlanta. According to the event's website, the call to action was in an effort to stop the construction of the new policing facility, to defend the forest, and to honor Turan's life. Protesters have camped in the forest for more than a year, opposing the facility's construction. Prior to
Jesus. Fucking ridiculous.
Like I said, I'm glad the officer's okay, but I hate that it took something like this to happen for us to get the attention. Hopefully they'll clear the woods out there. Hopefully.
And you called the cab police yourself?
Oh, I'm the homeowner association president, so we've been very closely involved with everything going on.
Ew.
But
homeowners ew. HOA, yeah, only HOA leaders are in favor of cops. Opposition groups, the defendant charged with domestic terrorism. Jesus. Dance? Oh, break into dance. Okay, constantly protesters killed 27 times.
We have a new look at the death of Manuel Esteban Paez Terán, the protester shot and killed at the site back in January. So just hours ago, 11 Alive obtained the autopsy report through the DeKalb County Medical Examiner. So it shows the differences from an independent autopsy commissioned by Paez Terán's family. The director of DeKalb County's Medical Examiner's Office tells 11 Alive that Paez Terán was shot 27 times, causing 57 separate bullet wounds. Now, the independent autopsy released last month by the family only cites 14 gunshot wounds. In the family's report, it states that Paez Terán's hands were raised during the shooting, but the DeKalb County report says that Paez Terán's left hand was most likely in a clenched fist position when the shots were fired. Criminal defense attorney Daryl Cohen says the issue
57 gunshot wounds. Jesus. 14 gunshot wounds reported.
Over Paez Terán's hands is a major disparity.
It is possible his hand was clenched and then he got shot immediately and may have raised his hands, because this doesn't take minutes to unfold. It takes mere seconds. And when you have the number of law enforcement people there protecting their own, as they should, then they don't take the time to say, wait a minute, let me look. They fire because they think they are in danger.
All right, so just
fucking cowards. Fucking cowards. Jesus Christ. Hey. All right, let's see. Should we do? Yeah, let's do. Yeah. We're gonna stick with what we got. All right, so. Let's see. Apparently, an Idaho family. Is that what? Yeah. Idaho recently looks like passed a gender affirming care bill, and it looks like they're now getting challenged in court from two families. Let's take a look. I have not heard about this. I just saw the headline and thought it was interesting. So let's go. Let's take a look. What do we got? Families of two transgenders filed a lawsuit Thursday to block enforcement of Idaho's ban on gender affirming medical care for minors. Let me see that really quickly. Idaho to ban, this was back in April. Starting next year, anyone in Idaho who provides gender affirming medical care for transgendered youth could end up a convicted felon after the state's Republican governor signed legislation banning the treatment late Tuesday. At least one organization has already promised to sue over the new law. The American Civil Liberties Union of Idaho announced Wednesday it was looking for potential plaintiffs for the lawsuit. Idaho is one of at least 13 states to enact a law restricting banning Opponents of the legislation say it will, naturally. Still, supporters acknowledge there's no identification that gender-affirming surgeries are being... Wait. Supporters acknowledge that there's no indication that gender-affirming surgeries are being performed on transgender youth in Idaho. Jesus. In signing this bill, I recognize our society plays a role in protecting minors from surgeries and other treatments that can irrevocably damage their healthy bodies. Our kids are not healthy. Do you know how much sugar and bullshit kids eat? The fuck? Governor Brad Little wrote in his signing statement, however, as policymakers, we should take great caution whenever we consider allowing the government to interfere with loving parents and their decisions about what is best for their children. Oh, okay. So it's okay. Cool. So the government can only step in between you and your child if your kid's trans. That's nice. Let's see. The ban, which was signed into law in April and scheduled to take effect January of next year, violates the federal constitution and guarantee of equal protection for the teens and due process of their parents and families, said in the filing in U.S. District Court. Governor Brad Little signed the bill into law in the name of, quote, protecting minors, but lawmakers and the governor ignored the extensive legislative testimony that the healthcare ban harms children. The plaintiffs whose legal representation includes lawyers with the American Civil Liberties Union, and note that the law makes it a felony for doctors to provide puberty blockers, hormone. Guys, keep in mind, puberty blockers are not just for trans people. That's not like the problem with opposition to a lot of trans affirming care is if you're doing that, if you're taking puberty blockers like away from like kids broadly, from minors broadly, there are people who need them for non like trans specific care. And now those people don't have access to healthcare. This is the problem with these dumb fuck kind of bans. Each like puberty blockers is just one element, probably one of the most harmless elements of trans affirming care, but it's also, we've been using them for quite a long time. Like let's see, when were blockers invented? Let's see. Puberty block. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved puberty blockers in 1993. Originally approved for temporary stop puberty in children who are going through it too early. Using puberty blockers can make your bones weaker while you are taking them. Well, naturally, because it's blocking your puberty. But yeah, like we've been using them since 93. Anybody who says like, oh, do we know the reason? No, we know everything about them. This is not new. Like this would be like if we said, oh, ibuprofen actually slows that down. Do we need to restudy ibuprofen? No, it's been developed for a very long time. This isn't new science. Let's see. The plaintiffs whose legal representation includes lawsuit was expected even before the ban was signed, and follows a pattern in Republican-controlled states. At least 20 have enacted laws or policies barring gender-affirming care in recent years. Several are so new that they haven't taken effect yet. Most of the bans have been challenged in court. The legal challenges are also so recent that there's not a clear trend for outcomes. The court put enforcement of a Missouri policy on hold, and then officials terminated the rule entirely last month. Lawmakers there have separately passed a ban, though it has not been signed into law so far. Oklahoma has agreed not to enforce its ban, while opponents seek to have it blocked. In the Idaho case, the plaintiff families were not named. Both teens are receiving gender-affirming care in the court filings. One of the families said that the treatment has improved their daughter's life, so she no longer has days when her gender dysphoria is so severe that she feels she cannot get out of bed. She's happy to look into mirrors. Her grades have improved, and her mother said that the girl was glowing as she prepared for her school's prom. But debate over the passage of the ban took a toll, leading to depressive thoughts and telling her parents she feels the state where she's lived her whole life is telling her to leave. Something the family is considering doing so she can continue her treatments. Defendants in the lawsuit include Attorney General Raul Labrador, a county prosecutor, a member of the Idaho Code Commission. An email seeking comment was sent to Labrador's office, which would likely defend the law in court. Interesting. I mean, hopefully, is this the fucker? No. Oh, this is the dude who's okay. Idaho Republican Party. Oh no. Okay, no, this is the guy. Okay. Yeah, being sued. Yeah. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy and his minion ass looking head. Okay. And now an update. Okay, so we kind of talked about this about a month ago. We talked about Texas is fall into fascism a little bit. Through the Texas Senate, they've passed a bill that will now target Harris County, one of the largest counties in the states, if not the largest, for basically that's what I'm looking for, election seizure, essentially giving control of local elections to the what is it? I think Attorney General, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Let me make sure. Yes. No. Wait. Grants the Secretary of State. I'm sorry. Secretary of State. Grants Secretary of State the ability to take over the elections in counties of a certain size. The bill was written specifically, and the reason why was like it's complete bullshit, is it was written specifically to only include Harris County. It's the only county in Texas that's going to apply for this. I think maybe there's like one more. I'd have to double check. But yeah, Republicans in Texas have just decided they're going to the executive branch is just going to take over local elections in one of the largest Democrat-run cities in the state. So let's go take a look. Let's see. Harris County in Texas is a big and diverse county that has trended Democratic over the past decade. And in the recently completed session of the Texas legislature, Republican state lawmakers passed measures that specifically target how elections are run in Harris County. 2 bills sent to Governor Greg Abbott on Monday would remove the county's elections administrator position and allow for the Secretary of State, an appointee of the governor, so basically the governor, to oversee the elections in Harris County under certain circumstances. We'll find those out what they are. Harris County has struggled to conduct elections in recent years. The then elections administrator resigned last year after issues with the state primary. The November general election was more of the same. Some polls in Democratic-leaning neighborhoods opened hours late. Others experienced malfunctioning machines, and then there were more than 24 polling sites in Republican-leaning neighborhoods that were forced to temporarily shut down because they ran out of paper ballots. Good, fuck them. I absolutely believe, it was on purpose, said Terry Wheeler, who served as a Republican election judge in Cypress. Of course you do. I've never seen anything like this. Let's do a voice. I've never seen anything like this. The way that they blew us off over the phone and refused to get us our paper ballots. Democrats largely swept the 2022 elections in Harris County. Houston Public Media conducted a 5-month investigation of the county's management of those elections, which revealed numerous problems, but no evidence that the county had deliberately undersupplied polling sites in Republican-leaning areas, nor did it determine that the number of people turned away at those sites would have significantly affected the outcome of more contests. So, yeah. Houston Public Media. Yeah. So, let's see. I want to take a look at this. GOP election judges say November 22 ballot shortages were intentional. Months later, no evidence has surfaced backing them up. Naturally. Of course they haven't. Because everything to Republicans is always a conspiracy and a target against them. Everything. Pride Month is. Cups that don't say Merry Christmas is. All of it. They're always the victim. Multiple bills, GOP, yeah. But, obviously, they can't substantiate any of this shit. Nevertheless, Republicans at the state and county level decided Harris County's election system was broken and needed state intervention to fix it. GOP State Senator Paul Betancourt of Houston was the author of those 2 bills related to his home county that are now on the governor's desk. Let's see. Our Senate Bill 1750 basically returns the elections in Harris County back to the elected officials, the county clerk and the tax assessor, like it was before the establishment of the now defunct elections administrator office. Like many Republicans, Betancourt holds the county's appointed elections administrator, Clifford Tatum, responsible for the problems of election day 2022. He says the elected officials would be more responsive to voters. Sure. But then there's SB 1933. SB 1933 basically grants the Secretary of State oversight under specific circumstances for Harris County elections, if necessary, through a complaint process established in the bill. By the way, the complaint process, super light. It's basically if anybody complains, then they can have the entire process taken over. Betancourt said, in other words, it would allow the state to override, even remove, those same elected officials. Both bills were amended after being filed to target counties with at least 3.5 million and 4 million people respectively. That's Harris County alone. Okay, so I was wrong. I thought it was 2, but yeah, they specifically rewrote it so that it only applies to this one county. The county's Democratic Chief Executive, Judge Lina Hidalgo, condemned the 2 measures. Harris County today finds itself grappling with the audacity of Republican state lawmakers hell-bent on recklessly enhancing the election chances of one party by targeting the largest county in the state. This sets a dangerous precedent and subverts elections in one of the most diverse counties in the nation. Another step toward disenfranchising in the name of election reform. County Attorney Christian Menefee, also a Democrat, said, quote, "We have a lot of elected officials, a lot of people who are voted into office to serve their community. Yet these bills target 3 black elected officials in Harris County, the elections administrator and county clerk, and the tax assessor collector." Menefee said the bills won't go unchallenged. We're suing the state of Texas to protect Harris County, residents, and protect our public officials, and stop the state from targeting us. The current elections administrator has taken steps to alleviate the problems that have plagued voting in the county. But His job is going away, forcing the county clerk to scramble to oversee November's general election when Houstonians, God damn it, will choose a new mayor. So keep in mind also, this is the case where, let's think about this for a second. If there was a scenario where the federal government decided to take over the elections of a state with, I don't know, of the state of Florida, let's go with Florida, decided to take over the elections process in the state of Florida because there were some complaints that were filed on behalf of, from like a few citizens. Do you think that would be all right? And let's make it so the president is a Democrat and, Florida's a pretty red state. Do you think that would be all right? Would that be okay with a larger entity, one that is in opposition ideologically on party lines, to take over broadly the entire election of like Florida? And obviously, if they write the bill as like, oh, it needs to be, a state with the population of exactly what Florida's population is at any given time. Like, that is essentially what they're doing right now in Texas. They're targeting one specific county, a Democratic-leaning county, to essentially take over their elections. And then, will the elections get better? Will more people be allowed to vote? Or will the Republican-led Secretary of State, appointed by the Republican governor of the state, do what we know they're going to do? They're going to close polling stations in blue neighborhoods. They're going to open polling stations in red neighborhoods, or they're just going to close all of them and leave the red ones mostly untouched. And then what do you know? Less Democratic voters voted in the Harris County elections. When this first happens, when this passes, and when it happens for the first time, what you are going to see is the number of people, election over election, decrease. And you will then know, the goal of this was to reduce the amount of people voting, giving Republicans, who are a minoritarian party, by the way, an advantage in the in the electoral process. Like, that's what this is going to lead to. Anyway, other bills. Let's see. Menifee, the current elections. Okay. Alleviate the problems, but the jobs. Yeah, right. Other bills, illegal voting by and Eric. Not sure what that one is. Texas lawmakers pass other election-related bills with statewide ramifications. House Bill 1243 would increase the penalty for voting illegally from a misdemeanor to a second-degree felony. Keep in mind, the only people who do that are Republicans. On par with manslaughter and attempted murder. That would reverse a change made by the legislators a couple years ago. Cool. Katya, oh my God. Eresman of Common Cause, Texas. Is that the Eric one? No, it's not. Has grave concerns about HB 1243, but she said the measure wasn't as bad as another bill the Senate tried to pass, which would have punished a person for voting illegally if they didn't realize they were committing a crime by casting a ballot. Both measures came after several high-profile cases of individuals being arrested for voting while still on parole and not having had their voting rights restored yet. Yeah, that's kind of fucking stupid. Like, if you voted and you didn't realize you didn't pass the threshold, then that's fine. But let's take a look. Let's see. Let's see. Cases of illegal voting. Voter fraud map. Let's take a look. No, we're not looking. We're not looking at the fucking Heritage Foundation. Let's see. Iowa woman arrested as let's see. Role in her alleged voter fraud scheme during the Iowa 2020 primary election. Kim Fong Taylor, 49. Let's see. Her initial appearance. Let's see. Her husband was an unsuccessful candidate. Ohio's fourth congressional district. Subsequent in 2020 general election, when her husband was successfully candidate for the Taylor allegedly submitted or caused others to submit dozens of voter registration absentee ballot request forms. Taylor is charged with indictment. Assistant Attorney General. The attorney Richard. God damn it! Can I see who she voted for? Can I find that out? Is that something I can find out? Kim Phuong Taylor, show me. I want to see if my let's see how bold I was. Charged with voter fraud. Go away. Federal prosecutors say Woodbury County woman committed widespread voter fraud in support of her husband in the 2020 electoral races. The U.S. Department of Justice announced charges Thursday for Kim Phuong Taylor, 49, of Sioux City. According to the DOJ press release, Phuong Taylor faces more than 50 felony charges, including married Jeremy Taylor, a former... What did I say, guys? A former Iowa House member and current Woodbury County Supervisor. Taylor, who is not identified by name or accused of wrongdoing in the press release, ran unsuccessfully for the Republican nomination to replace Representative Stephen King in Iowa's 4th Congressional District. Every time there is voter fraud, it's right-wingers. First one. This could have gone against my assumption. But what can I say? It's just kind of, it's really telling. You go to look for voter fraud and it somehow only seems to occur from the right wing. Let's see. The version that did pass, while horrible insofar as it increased the criminalization of voting, and it ultimately will intimidate people from the process because of the threat of felony penalties, at minimum doesn't include that open door of prosecution of mistakes and confusion. Yeah, I mean, again, this will only happen to Republican voters, so that's fine with me. Lock them up for all the time you can. Senate Bill 1070 would seek to end the state's participation in the Electronic Registration Informed Act, or ERIC, a voter data consortium that's been targeted in certain corners by right-wing misinformation. Wait, what? Or a voter data consortium that's been targeted in certain corners by right-wing misinformation. ERIC, interesting. What is it again? Give me that. Electronic Registration Information Center. Information resource? Is that what it was? I think that's what it said, right? Resource Center? I'm sorry. Information Center, not Resource Center. Information Center. Eric's mission to help states improve the accuracy of America's voter rolls, increase. What the fuck? Oh, is this like one of those? Okay, one second. Let's. Electronic privacy information. Is it privacy? Am I stupid? No, it's registration. Electronic. Oh, fuck, I'm stupid. It's fuck me. Here it is, Information Center. I mean, I think it knows what I meant. I don't even think. Let's see.
Voter registration is the gateway to participating in our American democracy.
Right.
And keeping voter rolls up to date is a challenge, mainly because Americans move so much. In any given year, tens of millions of Americans move, 2 million die, and other life changes occur.
Oh, wait, so this is literally just
As a result, 1 in every 8 registrations.
Interesting. So they do not want this resource for their interesting. That's telling. Okay. Well. Okay. So it's like a okay. Yeah, that's a bit sketchy in my opinion. How far it's racist? Oh, they're so racist. Unless the air that comes out of their ass is brown, in which case it's not racist. Oh goodness. All right. Let's 2036. Wow, that's in the future. All right. Should we shift into the second? I can't say half because it's not a half, but the second area of the show. Should we? I think we should. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's roll into the fun. What's a term for a fun third? The fun no. Synonym for third? Let's see. Ternary. No. Threefold treble? I need to figure out a thing. Either way, let's shift into the fun part, shall we? This.
Could not shop at Target, or else you're gay.
Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes.
Just to simplify this, I think we're just going to use.
I may keep the pantyhose on. This feels kind of good, actually.
Larger than that, Charlie. I live like a capitalist every single day. Beat it up, N-word.
What is more important to our culture than the Joker?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
The alpha males are back.
All right, we are back. It's really, the nice thing is you can kind of like take a break, drink some water, all that stuff. So I know we're like kind of late getting into the into it, but that's okay. All right, so I don't know if you've heard, but it's June now, so you have to be gay now. I'm sorry to inform that to you, but that's just kind of how it works now. It's June, you're gay now, welcome. But there are some people who seem to be really, really upset, and really not dealing with this very well. And chief among those is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro not doing very well, very upset over the presence of gay people in general, but obviously Pride Month's a real tough month for him. But it seems like baseball, I've been going to more baseball games lately this year. Always fun to do. If you've never been to a baseball game, they're always fun to go to. I think probably, if we're talking the big, like, I'm assuming what are the big four? Like hockey, basketball, baseball, and football. I would say the one I've had the most fun at are at the baseball games. I think, you get to be outside, whereas, you go to a football game, there's always a lot of loud, it's very loud. You kind of got to pay a lot of attention to what the fuck is going on. You also have to, there's a lot of moving parts in football. Hockey, it's cold as shit. You're inside. Same with basketball. You're inside the whole time, which, go Nuggets and all. But whereas baseball, it's nice. You can be outside. You can walk around the stadium. Stadiums are also very nice. But Ben Shapiro has had a tough time enjoying baseball lately, now that Pride has kicked off. So let's kind of check in and see how he's doing. I heard he's not doing super well. Hey. We can't hear you, Ben.
Well, folks, it takes a lot of bravery to stand up to the LGBTQ plus minus divided by a sign woke mob. And
why don't you say
basically
woke mob?
Decided to full on embrace the left-wing social agenda. So it's rare when a baseball player stands up against the sport and, in some cases, his own team in order to promote Christianity. The LA Dodgers.
Interesting that, right? Does anybody else find that interesting? That it's brave to stick up for Christianity, the dominant religion in the United States, the most powerful and one of the most powerful and hegemonic forces in American culture. It's brave to stick up for them, but you stick up for the gay people, and you're going along with the woke mob. This is where this kind of critique, to me, always falls apart, because they always want to paint, Christianity, the Christian church, whatever. They always want to paint their fundamentalist, religious, organizations as like the underdog. Christianity, Ben, is not the underdog, pal. Go on Google Maps, type in the word church, and you tell me how many come up. And then you tell me how much of the underdogs and how much defending Christianity needs. Jesus.
Dodgers recently got themselves into hot water because, again, they're a major corporation, the LA Dodgers. And the only way to explain what they are doing,
Rockies all day,
the LA Dodgers, is to understand that they do not feel bound by their own customer base. The LA Dodger customer base is heavily Hispanic and heavily Catholic.
Cool.
I know. I used to live in LA. And yet they decided to slap Catholics in the face by hosting an LGBTQI plus minus divided by sign Pride Night featuring the Sisters of Perpetual.
Is this the new meme? Is this the new meme where we do LGBT plus like, Ben, what's really funny is he would save more time just saying LGBTQ plus. He could just say LGBT plus, but he like extends it to make it more ridiculous. And it's like, you idiot. Nobody uses you moron, you fool, you Neanderthal. You're making it harder on yourself to identify this group, and then trying to pretend like I'm just making fun of them because it's so hard to identify this group, even though like I've extended the numbers and the letters in the acronym. Like, you moron. It's only 4 letters and a plus, and you took it to like all the way to plus minus and all the rest of this shit. You idiot. You moron. You fool.
And indulgence, an anti-Catholic hate group that is designed in order to mock Catholics with perverse display. By hosting an LGBTQI plus minus divided by sign Pride Night featuring the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, an anti-Catholic hate group that is designed in order to mock Catholics with perverse displays.
Perpetual.
And then they backed off of it. And then when they were clubbed from the other side, when they were clubbed by the left, they decided to go back and do it again.
Of perpetual indulgence.
Well, now you have certain members of the team who have decided to speak out. And this takes actual courage, as we'll see in a moment. So one of those people is a pitcher named Trevor Williams. He is a right-handed pitcher for the Washington Nationals.
Why is there... Okay. Also, let's take a look. Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I think I've actually heard of this group. Let's see. Charity, protest, and street performance organization that uses drag and religious imagery to satirize issues of sex, gender, and morality, particularly Christian. What is this fucking... Oh, what is this logo? Amazing. So Ben is... Wait, Ben. I thought free speech. What about free speech? Am I not allowed to satirize Christians? Is that not a thing? Am I not allowed to do that?
And he wrote, quote, "As a devout Catholic, I'm deeply troubled by the Dodgers' decision to reinvite and honor the group the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at their Pride Night this year.
Wait, this person's not on the Dodgers
place where
team.
people from all walks of life should feel welcomed, something I greatly respect and support. This is the purpose of different theme nights hosted by the organization, including Pride Night. To invite and honor a group that makes a blatant and deeply offensive mockery of my religion and the religion of over 4 million people in LA County alone undermines the values of respect and inclusivity that should be upheld by any organization. Creating an environment in which one group feels celebrated and honored at the expense of another is counterproductive and wrong. It is a clear violation of the Dodgers' discrimination policy, which explicitly states that any conduct or attire at the ballpark that is deemed to be indecent or prejudiced against any particular group or religion."
Ooh, is there indecency? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they've decided that drag is indecent. That's a personal opinion. Where's the let's see, Dodgers policy that says ballpark is deemed to be indecent or prejudiced against another particular group? Well, fun fact, satire is not prejudice. It's satire. That's kind of the point. You're allowed to make fun of people.
Is not tolerated.
Hey, Jonas.
It seems that the Dodgers have made an exception in this case, doubling down that this group, which grossly disrespects and openly mocks many of the traditions and beliefs Catholics hold most dear, should be celebrated. I believe it's essential for the Dodgers to reconsider their association with this group and strive to create an inclusive environment that does not demean or disrespect the religious beliefs of any fan or employee. I also encourage my fellow Catholics to reconsider their support of an organization that allows this type of mockery of its fans to occur. I know I'm not alone in my frustration, hurt, and disappointment about this situation. As Catholic,
why is somebody who plays for my home team of Washington concerning themselves with the Dodgers' policies? This sounds like maybe they're playing them. That's why he's really upset.
We look to Jesus Christ and the way he was treated.
It is.
And we realize any suffering in this world unites us in him in the next. Okay, I mean, that is a courageous statement by Trevor Williams. He's not the only one. There's another MLB pitcher named Blake Trinan. Blake Trinan also put up a statement regarding all of this. Trinan, I believe, pitches for the Dodgers themselves.
Ah, a Dodgers player who doesn't like. What's really funny to me also is they're basically complaining, "Hey, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to make fun of the Christians. That's not cool." And it's like, fucking get over it, you guys. Jesus, fucking snowflakes.
Via one of his friends, saying, "quote I'm
You're not
disappointed
allowed to
see the Sisters of
satirize
Perpetual Indulgence being honored
Christianity.
as
That's
heroes of
not
Dodger
fair."
Stadium. Many of their performances are blasphemous. Their work only displays hate and mockery of Catholics and the Christian faith.
Definitely
I understand
mockery.
that playing baseball is a privilege, not a right. My convictions in Jesus Christ will always come first. Since I've been
Well,
with the
then don't
Dodgers,
play.
they have been at the forefront of supporting a wide variety of groups. However, inviting the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to perform disenfranchises a large community and promotes hate of Christians and people of
It
faith.
doesn't.
The single event alienates the fans and supporters of
Pokes
the
fun
Dodgers,
at you.
Major League Baseball,
You
and
could just be
professional
an
sports.
adult.
People like baseball for its entertainment value and competition. The fans do not want propaganda or politics forced on them. The debacle with Bud Light and Target should be a warning to companies and professional.
Ooh, the debacle of Target and Bud Light. Ooh, you mean Target where people of your ilk, Mr. Pitcher Man, have called in bomb threats, harassed, and destroyed, threatened to destroy property? Actually, there's some video of people destroying some Pride. There was that one dude who like stomped on some like Pride display or some shit. Do you mean that? Do you mean those people, or do you mean Bud Light where you guys just decide to drink Coors Light, another very Pride adjacent brand? Do you mean that one? That one? Yep. Right? Like, at the end of the day, what they're asking for is special don't make fun of me treatment because I'm Christian. That's what they're asking for. You're not allowed to make fun of Jesus. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. But go ahead and ask all of them. Should you be allowed to draw the Prophet Muhammad? Should you be allowed to do that? They will all say yes. They will all say that you're allowed to satirize, you're allowed to show, you're allowed to do whatever with somebody like the Prophet of Muhammad. You're allowed to do that. They don't give a fuck. But it's when it's Christians, when it's when it's the Jesus lovers in this country, who, by the way, hold most, if not all, of the levers of power in this country. When you satirize them, when you make fun of them, that's when the bounds have been crossed. That's when. So keep that in mind. These people they're not looking for equality. They're not looking for understanding. What they want is special treatment. We're allowed to make fun of you. We're allowed to support and pass bills that, they want to talk about disenfranchisement. There were gay people in this country who were not allowed to be legally married because of people like these pitchers, people like Ben Shapiro. But they will call, a group satirizing their beliefs as disenfranchisement. Meanwhile, they try to pass actual laws to disenfranchise people. I don't want to hear it.
Sports to stay true to their brand and leave the propaganda and politics off the field. I believe Jesus died on the cross for my sins. This group openly mocks Jesus, the cornerstone of my faith. I want to make it clear I do not agree with nor support the decision of the Dodgers to honor these Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Okay, good for Blake Trinan. But then there's the story of Anthony Bass. So he's a pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. He shared a post on his social media in which he encouraged the boycott of Target and Bud Light. He shared a video calling on Christians to stop patronizing those companies. The original...
Well, this is the thing, Giannis, is like, let me read this real quick. People find it offensive and shit, and they want to have that same thing for Christianity. Well, this is also the thing. You're allowed to be offended. This is kind of the thing with me. I got no problem with people, drawing Muhammad or satirizing religion. I got no problem with it. I don't think that's beyond the pale. My issue with Ben Shapiro and a lot of these Christian fundamentalists is that they only want that for their religion. The same way every religious group does. Muslims think, Muslims don't give a shit about satirizing Jesus. They don't give a fuck. They'll do it. Every one of these fundamentalist religious types, they all are okay with satirizing each other's religion, except when it comes to theirs. They can all go fuck themselves, and we should be able to make fun of them. This is a free country. I thought we lived with free speech laws. I have to hear it all the time from the right wing, like Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk and everybody else. But whenever it's free speech that's against their beliefs, against their values, they suddenly get really fucking pearl clutchy. Same with like, how many times do we see these guys come on and defend private institutions, private businesses from participating or making decisions for their own companies? All the fucking time. They're always in defense of private business, except when those private businesses go against their value set. That's the only time. Suddenly, the free market, suddenly all of the, free market fundamentalism disappears because they don't care about any of that shit. What they care about is the propagation and the reinforcement of their religious value set. That's what they actually care about. And if there's a challenge to that, then they'll take up the issue. But if not, then they don't give a fuck.
Video said, quote, here's the reason biblically why I believe Christians have got to be boycotting Target, Bud Light, and any other corporation that's pushing the things they're pushing. This is evil. This is demonic. We won't stand for it. We're not going to go to the stores anymore. We're not going to give them
by pushing the
money.
Things they're pushing, keep in mind, Target is pushing the existence and participation in the economy by gay people. That is the crime of Target. Target decided that gay people exist so much to the fact that they decided to sell clothing specifically aimed at them the same way they do for gamers and sports fans. And that's unacceptable to Ben Shapiro. And it's unacceptable for his fundamentalism. That's the thing that they're boycotting. They're boycotting the existence of other people when it comes to Target. Same with Bud Light, even though they're all fucking idiots and don't even understand anything about the Bud Light issue. But their opposition is the recognition that non-fundamentalists like themselves exist and should be included in marketing, in the economy, and everything else. Gay people, trans people cannot be equal participants in our country. That is what they are protesting.
Bass was then forced, presumably by the Toronto Blue Jays organization, to apologize for his own religious convictions. Here we go.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're doing it to make money. Everybody does it to make money.
A post that was hurtful to the Pride community.
Oh, Blue Jays,
which includes friends of mine and close family members of mine.
I wonder what their Pride one finds like. I love the Blue Jays logo. The Blue Jays logo is so good.
I just spoke with my teammates and shared
They told
with them
me
my actions
to shut the
yesterday.
fuck up.
I apologize with them. And as of right now, I'm using the Blue Jays resources to better educate myself, to make better decisions moving forward. The ballpark is for everybody.
The Maoist struggle segment.
Include all fans at the ballpark, and we want to welcome everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, none of these companies, keep in mind, none of these companies care. Like, they don't care about gay people. They care about selling things to gay people. The same way they don't care about gamers. Target doesn't care about anybody. If you have money in your wallet, they care. They just want that. They don't care what it is. They'll sell you a rainbow shirt. They'll sell you a MAGA hat. They'll sell you a fucking Nintendo Switch. They'll sell you a Minecraft. They will sell you anything to make money. But the like guys like Ben Shapiro, like Matt Walsh and all the rest, their goal is to make sure that gay people, queer people, do not get to have things marketed to them. That is their goal, because the marketing towards these groups is a sign of acceptance and a sign of integration into society. And that's the thing they're challenging. They don't want, it's the same way like, oh, if we let the gays get married, what next? It's that sort of thing. Like, they don't want these people included into society the same way they are. They won't bat an eye if there's a Jesus loves you shirt being sold at Target. They won't fucking blink, but they will lose their shit over a rainbow shirt that says like, pride be with you or whatever the fuck. Like, they will lose their mind over that though.
The Maoist struggle sessions. You definitely have to cater to a tiny percentage of the population that is deeply offended by people who don't want transing of the kids' material at Target. You have to cater to those people, not the other 98% of the American population.
So Ben's a lawyer. He should know how. He should know how making factual statements work. Let's see. U.S. Let's take a look. Ooh, look at this. So what, bring me that, Ben, really quick.
At Target, you have to cater to those people, not the other 98%, any percentage of the population that is deeply offended by people who don't want transing of the kids' material at Target. You have to cater to those people, not the other 98% of the.
So I'm not sure what 98% he's referring to. Pew Research finds most favor protecting trans people from discrimination. Even growing share say gender is determined by sex at birth. At the end of the day, these people will say stuff like, oh, well, you know, obviously most Americans. No, most Americans are strongly in favor. Like, this is not the hill that Ben thinks he's going to die on.
American population. I got to tell you, I have a brand new baby. This means child number 4. And things are very busy around the house. And so the idea that
my God, Jesus Christ, the fucking ads. Move on. Come on.
This happening. What exactly is the solution? Right? We've talked about this vast, collusive, quasi-conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy when they do it right out in the open, just say they're doing it. This vast, collusive group of people who have decided to leverage down, to cram down on the American public and the international public, actually, and on every major company in America, left-wing social engineering. So how exactly do you fight that? It's easy to say, you know, well, you, the individual, you should get up and you should protest your corporation. Okay. I mean, that sounds great, except that then you lose your job and then you can't feed your family. Not everybody can work for the Daily Wire. So what exactly? Well, as a consumer, obviously, you can exercise choice, and it does work from time to time when you do. And you can show corporations that they ought to be scared of the consumer. Bud Light, for example, is getting absolutely clobbered. Apparently, sales are worsening. They had a staggering drop of 29.5% for the week ending May 20th. Data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ provided to Newsweek shows that sales by volume are down almost 30% for the week ending May 20th compared to last year. Sales are down 25.7% for revenue compared to the same time window. This is a bloodbath. Anheuser-Busch InBev stock is getting crushed since the start of.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What is he talking about?
Can exercise choice. And it does work from time to time when you do. And you can show corporations.
No, that was Pew Research.
That they ought to be scared of the consumer. Bud Light, for example, is getting absolutely clobbered.
Are we still doing the Bud Light?
They had a staggering drop of 29.5% for the week ending May 20th. Data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ provided to Newsweek shows that sales by volume are down almost 30% for the week ending May 20th compared to last year. Sales are down 25.7% for revenue compared to the same time window. This is a bloodbath. Anheuser-Busch InBev.
Now keep in mind, that's for a very specific window. So that's essentially saying this time last year, there was X drop. Let's see if I can find the... let's do this. Close that. We'll open this one. Pull this over here. Actually, here. Bush stock. Let's take a look. We have the last month, a drop of $11 in the share price. The last year over year, we're looking, oh no, is this year over year? Yes. Year over year, we're looking at a 2.3 drop between now and last year. Over the last 5 years, haven't been doing very well, but that's, let's see, max, what are we up for the entire life? Up another 34%. Not to say that Anheuser-Busch is a wonderful company. Oh, they're actually up today. Doesn't really matter. Let's see. But yeah, year over year, they're down 2%. Not really that crazy of a number. They've really gotta, I mean, they have to keep hammering this home that that Anheuser-Busch is failing. They'll be fine. Like, they're not like an incredibly healthy company, especially if you look at their 5 years. Granted, their 5 years probably, yeah, that's also probably including 2019 and during all of COVID, which everybody took deep hits. But either way, like, if we're really looking like even just year over year, it's a 2% drop. Same with, let's take a look at Target. Let's see. Target stock over the last month has dropped 17%. Their year over year is 16 though, meaning that, let's see. If had some really deep drops in December. I don't know why in December. And over the last 5 years, they're actually shockingly up. Let's take a look at their overall. There was like a huge peak in 2021. Not sure why. Sure that has something to do with money they might have gotten. Yeah. Like Target, another company, not that healthy, but also you don't really need to be that healthy as long as you're returning what's the word I'm looking for? As long as you're returning what's the word? Money to the shareholders, I should say. That was when the first lockdown ended. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so that makes 1 second. Let's look no, that actually explains it then. If the first lockdown ended in 21, then yeah, that makes sense why they'd see such a huge rise. And then a big drop after that once we found out that retail shoppers weren't going to respond the same way. Thank you for that.
The stock is getting crushed since the start of April. Beers
Yeah.
are selling for pennies, and there's no end in sight. Now, it is worthwhile noticing here that one of the reasons why this has been a successful boycott and will continue to be a successful boycott is because the alternatives are readily available, meaning all you have to do, you're at the grocery store. You don't like Bud Light because Bud Light decided that they were going to push Dylan Mulvaney, a man masquerading as a
Also,
woman,
do you
as a
notice?
spokesperson.
Does anybody else notice that
instead, you turn 6 inches to your
the
right
left,
and you pick up some Coors.
The left isn't
And actually what you can see is
really
that
that
Bud Light
interested
sales are
in,
down 25% and Coors Light sales are up 25%. They just moved
Interested in
from one
Bud Light?
brand to another.
Do you want to know why that is?
When you're talking about a universal
It's mainly because
wave of companies all mirroring the Pride Month celebratory morality.
it really wasn't
what
all
happens
that
when that happens? How do you fight
significant.
that?
The Dylan Mulvaney thing.
The answer here is going to be a bevy of lawsuits. Okay, this is going to be legislation and lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we are watching right now is illegal collusion between these companies. I've used the word collusion, but it actually is legal collusion. So there are two separate lines of attack that are going to have to be used legally in order to break up this corporate oligopoly.
Wait a minute.
Line number one is
does Ben understand how markets work all of a sudden? Does he understand how we live in it? Wait a minute. Is this the only time Ben's gonna actually understand how the economy works for once in his life? Every other time like, you see how it's falling apart, how like their entire like belief structure, especially around the economy, somehow they've now figured it out. Like, wait, all of these companies all have come to a point where they have enough market share capture that they're just trading positions constantly, and that's how they've created an oligarchy. Oh my God, can you believe this? Every sector of the United States economy suffers from this. But the only time these guys are interested in recognizing that is when they can paint one as woke, meaning not conservative to them or not conservative enough to them. And it's the only time they can seem to understand it. Wow, that's actually kind of amazing. I didn't think we'd get there with Ben.
This is the anti-competitive.
I guess he understands.
This is a violation of basic antitrust law.
Whoa, you mean antitrust law that you've never been in favor of enforcing?
They say the seminal antitrust law in the United States, the Sherman Act of 1890, prohibits every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce. To protect consumers across the economy, courts have interpreted this law to prohibit unreasonable agreements in restraint of trade. Anti-competitive conduct enriches the few, members of a cartel, at the expense of everybody else, harming free markets, ultimately consumers through higher prices and reduced output. Agreements between competitors to fix prices, divide markets, or engage in certain forms of group boycott agreements prevent competition on the merits and are therefore illegal. As former DOJ Antitrust Division head Megan Delrahim has written, anti-competitive agreements among competitors, regardless of the purported beneficial goal, are outlawed because they reduce the incentives for companies to compete vigorously, which in turn can raise prices, reduce innovation, and ultimately harm consumers. For example, there was a case called FTC versus Superior Court Trial Lawyers Association. A group of lawyers agreed to stop representing indigent criminal defendants in Washington, D.C. until the city government agreed to increase their compensation. The FTC took them to court. They argued that this was a per se illegal conspiracy to fix prices and conduct a boycott. The lawyers defended their agreement as a justified strike in the public interest to increase the number of lawyers who could represent those particular defendants. The Supreme Court rejected the defense. So, you could easily see a situation in which there is a lawsuit against all of these companies, all of these organizations for their ESG nonsense, their collusive ESG nonsense. In fact,
do you think Ben has any idea what ESG means? ESG is mostly just a rating based on their environmental impacts and a few other I mean, they're basically like markers for like speculative investors. Like that's all it really is. It's like a snapshot of like certain because what is it? I'm sorry, I gotta look up. What does it stand for? ESG stand for? It's environmental, social, and governance. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So it's like the it's basically like calculating its environmental impacts, also the like social like relations that it has in any locality, and then also the like governing relationships that they have. So if you're gonna put like a brewery, let's say in I don't know, if you're gonna put a brewery in Kansas, let's say, they're gonna do an ESG rating to kind of figure out, okay, what relationships do you have with the government to get the leases? What environmental impact are you gonna have by brewing in the local area? And then what kind of working conditions are going to be had, and some of this all like builds up as the like company operates basically. But it's just it's a certain subsect of priorities, some of which are some people invest more on based on those, some people do less, some people don't give half a shit. But it's just a way of understanding the full context of any businesses, of basically them running their business.
Bloomberg Law reported just a little bit earlier this month that insurers are now being forced to rethink their approach to climate change as they assess the risk of being sued for antitrust violations. Munich Re, the world's biggest reinsurer, recently backed out of the Net Zero Insurance Alliance, citing what it called the material legal risks it would face if it remained. The defection was then followed by two more high-profile departures, with Zurich Insurance Group AG and Hanover Re also leaving. All three said they will still pursue net zero goals, but not in coordination with the alliance. Because, again, they are afraid that they're going to be sued for collusion. So that would be solution number one. Solution number two is somewhat similar. That would be a shareholder derivative claim. A shareholder derivative action is when shareholders basically say that corporate officers are breaching their fiduciary duties, that your fiduciary duty is to maximize the profitability and the viability of the corporation in which I am a shareholder. Your fiduciary duty does not involve doing the work of the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation or the PGLE or whatever ridiculous ESG organization you have decided to join. Their shareholder actions can include anything up.
Also, again, they keep saying ESG because, well, keep in mind, ESG is a dog whistle for woke at this point. So it's why they never really talk about what the ESG ratings actually mean. But it's just a dog whistle at this point.
To and including conflicts of interest between the corporation and insiders, wasting of corporate assets, executive manager or board member breach of fiduciary duty. The law is going to be a solution to this. And the law will also be a solution in terms of legislation. It's one reason why Republicans are going to actually have to win. There's no substitute for victory. Because Joe Biden sits in the presidency right now. And President Biden...
Wait. The Republican Party is going to legislate Bud Light? Is that really what he's suggesting?
Basically vowed that he was going to veto any ESG rule. You'll recall it was not all that long. It was March when he rejected a Republican proposal to prevent pension fund managers from basing investment decisions on factors like climate change.
It's literally an analysis.
Literally encouraging all of this.
An analysis
the House GOP
format.
tried to override that Biden veto. They just didn't have the votes to do it. The override failed on a 219-200 vote along party lines. But if Republicans were to win the House and win the Senate and win the presidency, they could actually pass a law to ban ESG investing, which would be necessary.
Can you imagine the Republican Party, the party of free market fundamentalism, passing a law that would ban a form or a format of analysis that they don't find politically correct? That's what that is. The idea that you would ban ESG analyses is actually fucking insane. That would be as if you banned, I don't even know what that's analogous to. The idea that you would say, no, you are not allowed to invest in anything that has been analyzed through a ESG lens is absolutely crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Like when these people pretend that they're, their free market fundamentalism frequently runs up against their religious fundamentalism. It's fucking crazy. Apologize for being a Christian or a patriot. Never apologize for being a Christian. Who's asking you to? What's really funny to me is these people are perpetual victims. And speaking of perpetual victims, Matt Walsh
today marks the
I guess wanted to put "What is a Woman" on Twitter for whatever reason. I guess they just wanted to screen it on Twitter because Elon Musk is the head of it now and he would let him do that. But apparently they're really upset that he's not letting them. That's
beginning of what millions of Americans and all major corporations consider to be the single holiest month of the entire year. It is Pride Month, of course.
True.
And as you've probably noticed, the observances are well underway. Maybe you've seen a bunch of pride flags everywhere. Maybe you've noticed all of the pride-themed advertisements. Maybe there's a pride parade marching down your street at this very moment full of naked.
Now imagine somebody making all of these complaints about Christmas, Thanksgiving, literally any other holiday. Like, again, none of this is new. Guess what? We have all of these for literally every other holiday.
Naked people exposing themselves to children. If you're in San Francisco, that's a year-round activity, of course. Whatever the case, Pride is here.
Is San Francisco still a very gay city?
Was
It's
just
very
one day,
expensive
sort
to
of
live
like a Transgender Day of Remembrance or the Intersex Awareness Day or Pansexual Pride Day, International Pronouns Day. But now Pride is 4 weeks long.
Yes.
Can't avoid it if you try. It's the literal celebration of one of the 7 deadly sins.
You
and
can't?
it simply can't be ignored. It's all encompassing. So
Interesting. Did you notice that? Did you notice that little 7 deadly sins? This is why, like, Matt Walsh doesn't need logic. Whenever he brings logic, he doesn't actually need it. It's just there as window dressing. His actual opposition is not for trans and gay people because there's some because they're less happy, or I'm just worried about kids and surgery, and this and that. No, it's always just, it's against my book. That's as far as it goes. These people are no different from the Taliban, no different from any other extremist group with fundamentalist beliefs. There's no difference.
last year on
They
June
would
1st,
stone and hang
we
gay
decided
people in the
to,
streets if they could, but they know
join
they
in
can't.
And mark the occasion. My documentary, What is a Woman, premiered at the Daily Wire 1 year ago today to start
premiered
off
on a
Pride Month.
website.
It was a very deliberate choice by us to start the month with this film.
Naturally.
For the film, my team and I, as you know, traveled all over the world asking that simple
I don't
question
think
in
I've
the
ever
title.
seen
Just a few years
the
ago,
entire
and throughout
thing.
all of human history before that, the question would not have stumped a single person. If we had made a film called What is a Woman in the year 2010 and gone around asking this question, everybody would be very confused, but confused for a different reason, confused about why we're asking such an obvious question to begin with. But we found that in 2022, it was a real mind twister. To be sure, some people, had no problem telling us what a woman is. The tribesmen we met in Kenya could answer the question easily, for example.
The tribesmen in Kenya. The only time Matt Walsh has ever talked about Kenya in a positive light. Jesus
Also,
Christ.
a Vietnam veteran in Washington State who runs his own store selling Star Wars memorabilia.
Whoa,
But
a veteran.
We found that the kind of people who celebrate
Whoa.
Pride Month, the identity-obsessed members of Congress, the gender studies professors, the physicians who make a lot of money mutilating children and so on.
People are educated.
They
Yes,
could not
yes.
give us an answer. In fact, they couldn't give us anything resembling an answer. They couldn't get close to an answer. They just started dissembling, and in many cases, they ran away, or they screamed at us, or both. These are the activists, the medical experts, who will tell you without hesitation that
The only time Matt Walsh wants to actually hear the answer for what is a woman is if it's like a college kid in a room packed with supporters of him. That's the only time he ever really wants to hear any opposition to his opinions. Every other time it's like, if you give me a decent answer, I'll just like cut it out of the movie. And if you give me too complicated of an answer because I'm an idiot and I can't understand things, then I'm going to say, oh, that's too complicated. Like, at the end of the day, the whole, like, what is a woman discourse comes down to, well, how much do you really want to think about this? If you're Matt Walsh, you don't want to think about it past adult human female. Like, you just don't. That's not a thing that you're interested in doing. But if you're somebody from the left, there's a good chance that you're like, well, let's sit down and let's have like a conversation about this, because there's kind of quite a bit to talk about. And there's a lot of context to go over. There's a lot of assumptions that people make about people's is identity and how they choose to identify, and yada yada yada, all the rest of this stuff, right? But like, to Matt Walsh, the idea of nuance, the idea of like more than one layer, is in and of itself an affront to his to his entire goal, to his entire like creed. It has to be simple, it has to be intuitive, it can't be complicated. And that kind of lack of complexity is where this guy lives. It's as simple as, give me a 5-second answer or it doesn't count. And when it comes to human identification and human psychology, quite frankly, it's not as simple as a 5-second answer.
Trans women are women. They'll have you fired from your job, ostracized for the rest of your life if you disagree with them. But they can't even define the word. What is a woman was an international success because most people recognize how absurd this is. I mean, don't we have free speech in this country? Isn't this what the country was founded on? Isn't it the basis for the First Amendment to our Constitution? What's the point of all that exactly?
Well, it depends on if you're trying to use the definition of a woman as a bludgeoning tool to discriminate against people. That isn't protected speech.
It can't protect us when we speak openly and honestly about whatever we want to talk about. And in particular, what's the point of all of that if we can't even ask a question about the most fundamental and immutable
But you also notice they say open and honest, not truthful,
something
honest,
that's embedded
because
at the
that's their honest
chromosomal
opinion,
level,
but
which is our sex.
They know that it's not.
This is
the
way beyond
actual
free
answer.
speech. Okay, this is an attack not just on speech, but on the ability to speak basic, fundamental truth. In a country where speaking the truth, not your truth, but the truth,
are you going to say anything
has
bad?
somehow become a revolutionary act, it makes sense that What is a Woman became a revolutionary film and one of the most influential and one of the most talked about documentaries of the century.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so he's not going to say anything. Okay. How about this? Since he's not going to say anything, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to put, because it's the third hour, we're going to put him over here. Let him, say nothing. And we're going to try to play. We're going to see. Hopefully, this should function properly. Actually, yeah. What am I looking for? This. Hello. There we go. This, and then we do this, and then we do this, and then, oh, I think I hear a knock at my door. One moment. Here, let me hit the break thing for a second. Assuming I can get my mouse back. Can I have my mouse? Oh, it's because the game's loading. I want my mouse back. Give me my mouse back. Give me my mouse back. There we go. Okay, we'll be back in a second. Okie dokie. There we go. That's better. All right. Yeah. We're going to put Matt up in that little corner there. And, he can do his whining and stuff, but I want to play some Choo Choo Charles. So we're going to do that while he complains about being put upon by gay people, I guess. I don't know.
Century. We've screened the film all over the country. Every time we've gotten a massive response. We've shown it at colleges that don't allow dissent on this issue in the classroom. And since the release of the film, we've done even more to expose the damage that's being done by activists who deny the reality of biology, including at Vanderbilt Medical Center, where they abuse children for profit. Of course, we've seen laws.
Keep in mind, their version of pushing back is bomb threats. At the end of the day, this guy is a terrorist leader.
Being passed all across the country. And the film, we're proud to say, was a catalyst for a lot of that, helped to be a catalyst for a lot of that. But the incredible positive response to the film was met with fury and rage on the other side. The film has been banned from major big tech platforms, denounced as hate speech, reviled by many of the worst people in our country. It also made me personally public enemy #1 to many of these trans activists, a title that I'm proud to still hold and one that I intend to keep for as long as I live.
We know that you love being hated by people.
I am very much proud to be hated by these kinds of people. I don't mind the hatred. What I do mind is the censorship, the fear, the refusal to even engage. And that's why we've been excited to see the changes to Twitter this past year under new management. For the first time, the owner of a major social media platform didn't just promise to respect the freedom of speech of all the users. He seemed to really mean it. Elon Musk lifted the previous regime's political bans on thousands of users, including the former president of the United States. Musk also, it seemed, eliminated Twitter's rules, which require that you respect the fake pronouns and gender identities of other users. And Musk promised transparency in Twitter's algorithm.
Keep in mind, he
so that
says
people
fake.
with unfavorable
Regardless of
opinions
whether
wouldn't be
he
shadow
thinks
banned anymore. They wouldn't be
their
suppressed.
pronouns are real or not,
this year,
at the end of the day, that is how they identify.
We reached out to Twitter about distributing What is a Woman on their platform for free, for all users.
Wow.
This is how we plan to mark the 1-year anniversary of the film.
What's funny to me is these guys are all like upset about, oh, how dare you, you don't let us use your platform to put a movie up that we produced for free. And I can't help but be like, what right do you have to screen your movie onto Twitter? Like, honest to God, like they act like they have a right to this platform. They have a right to screen their film. You don't, pal. You do not have a right to somebody else's platform to do whatever it is that you would like. That's not how that really works, bud.
And it's how we wanted to ring in Pride Month 2023. We wanted to take the movie that LGBT
also, didn't you hear,
hate the most and put it
Elon
out
Musk
in its entirety
is a
for
centrist.
Free
He's
on
like
one of the most trafficked
apolitical.
social media platforms on the planet. And we wanted to do it on the first day of Pride Month. That was the plan.
That was the plan, to spread
as the Daily
hatred.
Wire CEO Jeremy Boring wrote earlier today,
Right, I already talked to you.
Twitter was initially receptive to this idea. In fact, they were excited about it. They pledged to set up a custom landing page just for the film so that everybody could find it easily.
Nice. So nice.
This is something that we were happy to pay for. This is a privilege that we were going to pay Twitter for. Twitter signed an agreement to that effect. Then,
well, they signed an agreement that you would
they
have
asked
to pay
review
for
the
it
film
if
because they wanted to screen it for any content that might, quote, trigger users on its platform because they wanted to know, how they were going to respond if when the film proved to be controversial.
Nice.
Now, that was a giant red flag, obviously. Since when do free speech platforms talk about trigger warnings to begin with? And indeed, after reviewing the film,
aren't there like laws against some
Twitter
of that stuff?
Suddenly changed
what if I
its
do
mind.
low? Well, we're
Switched
not on
course.
the, oh my God.
Instead of promising to promote the film, Twitter informed us that they would dramatically restrict its reach. They labeled it as a hateful content, and they were going to make it as hard
Maybe don't
as
make
possible
hateful
to
content?
find without outright banning it. So all the shadow bans that we heard about in the past under the old regime, when we were told the shadow bans were gone, we're now being told by Twitter that they will do that to this film when we post it, because it is hate speech, they said.
Makes sense.
They would ensure that it would not appear in people's feeds.
Imagine how hateful your film has to be that even Elon Musk's Twitter is like, this is too far. I don't know if we can really do this. Like, that's kind of wild. That Twitter run by Elon Musk had to come to the determination that, like, yeah, this is a bit too far, even for us. Like, you've lost Elon on this. That should tell you a lot about how, like, vile your fucking movie is.
would crush it completely. We were told by Twitter that that is what they're going to do. Now, how could that be?
Crush your film.
What hateful content were they talking about exactly? What's the hateful part of the film? I mean, I made the movie. I'm in it. I don't remember any hateful content.
That in and of itself is already
Twitter directed us to two
hateful
clips in particular from What is a Woman that they said are hateful content, and because of these segments of the film, it becomes hate speech, and they're going to restrict its reach on the platform. Now, I'm going to show you both of these clips because it's hard to believe that they're really saying this. Hard to believe, anyway, if you took their new commitment to free speech seriously. If you took that seriously, then this will be shocking to you. In the first clip, a father in Canada tells us that he was arrested and he was fined $30,000. His crime was referring to his 14-year-old daughter as a she. The father tried to prevent doctors from pumping his daughter. Both of these clips because it's hard to believe that they're really saying this. Hard to believe, anyway, if you took their new commitment to free speech seriously.
Is that gonna...
If you took that seriously, then this will be shocking to you.
Okay.
In the first clip, a father in Canada tells us that...
you mean Canada, where they, like, passed pro-trans laws? Okay.
He was arrested and he was fined $30,000. His crime was referring to his 14-year-old daughter as a she. The father tried to prevent doctors from pumping his daughter full of hormones.
Gotcha.
And tried to protect his daughter from mutilation and butchery. So the Canadian government destroyed his life.
Was this person a minor? Canadian. 30K fine. Let's see. Man arrested for discussing child's gender in court order. Let's see. British Columbia dad jailed 6 months after repeatedly exposing transgender son's identity to cite publication ban. Oh, so there. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, Vancouver father of transgender teenager has been sentenced to 6 months behind bars. Fucking get him. After exposing sensitive personal and medical information about his son in violation of a publication ban intended to protect the boy's privacy. Wow. Yeah. So no. So the actual, okay. So let's be clear about this. The actual thing this person is in jail for is for breaking publication laws. Whoa. Like, don't dox your fucking son. He simply chose to disregard those orders for reasons that have never been explained. Public breaches of court orders are a direct attack of the rule of law. Yeah. Sorry, you broke the law and order. Fucking deal with it. Yeah, as usual. Matt being totally honest there.
And now Twitter is calling this father hateful, and they're saying that you should hear what he has to say.
Definitely is.
Because of this clip, which we will play right now. Listen.
Hello?
Hey, is this...
This is, yes.
Is this fucker?
Hey, it's Matt Walsh. Where are you right now?
I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada right now.
Is there a reason why
are you
guys
able
had
to leave?
Okay.
I'm not able to leave BC. I can't even go to another province in Canada right now.
Yeah, that's how being in jail works.
Because I'm technically out on bail.
What happened exactly?
In 2018, a father in Canada was informed that a hospital would begin administering hormone-altering medications to his child. Cool. Fun fact, you know, as a parent, there are laws. Your child does have their own consent. They don't need your consent for medical treatment. Okay. According to a recently passed Canadian law, doctors can administer these drugs to children without parental consent. Okay, cool. When the father spoke out, okay, keep in mind, when they say speak out, they specifically are referring to publication law, to which there are laws against. If somebody, like, it would be like, you know, if during like court filings, they, because you're a minor, they don't use your normal name when they file the paperwork and everything in between. And then, you know, part of that process is the court will usually say, okay, so if there's any publications about this, if there's like a news article about it, if anything, if they were to interview the other person, you know, the person whose name wasn't redacted essentially, then you would be in violation of like a court order, which yeah, that's, you know, if he went and spoke out and then used their name, then yeah, you're in violation of of the publication laws. This actually has nothing to do with the person being trans. It has everything to do with law enforcement and like the enforcement of court orders. Yep, because it docks them.
How exactly did this get into the courts to begin with?
Right. So what happened is we set up a meeting with BC Children's Hospital.
Makes sense.
According to the BC Children's Hospital website, there's going to be a thorough evaluation, and I'm thinking, good, this is going to be the end of it all. They're going to clearly see that my child is not the opposite sex. So my ex-wife brings my child into BC Children's Hospital.
So how much do you want to bet that this dude isn't really that involved with his child's life? Like, they're obviously divorced. It's his ex-wife. So yeah, you have one parent who's probably, they have half custody. The other one probably has the other half of like custody. Maybe, a little bit more than the other. I don't know the specifics of their divorce situation, but they go to the hospital. The mother is like, yeah, they need to have an evaluation done for transgenderism, maybe gender dysphoria, whatever. And the dad's like, nope, my daughter ain't my son or whatever the fuck. And the doctors came back, was like, yeah, so they clearly they are trans or whatever. They came to whatever assessment they came to, and it seems like the dad wasn't happy about that assessment, which okay, cool. Being that they're also divorced too, that also makes the consent laws probably a little bit more in terms of parental consent, probably a little bit more opaque, I suppose, because the question really comes down to, does the consenting parent have full custody, or are we allowing, the kind of part-time parent in a way? Like, if the father isn't the majority, isn't the person who this child is living with a majority of the time, do we allow them to hold up medical care in this scenario? Like, do you need to get both parents, or is it just one? I'm assuming you only need one parent consenting at that point, since they're sharing custody, but I'm not 100% sure.
I get a call less than an hour into that appointment is that they were going to pump her full of cross-sex hormones within the hour. And I put a halt to that. I said, no. They agreed to stop for the moment. They figured, well, let's get the dad on board too. This is all going to be better. Let's just get everybody on the same page. I said, It's not going to happen. So I get a letter from BC Children's Hospital in December of 2020.
Also, how much you want to bet it wasn't cross-sex? It was probably puberty blockers. There's a chance that it was cross-sex hormones, but this is the case where we would say, yeah, I think the decision for medical care should be left up to the physician and the family. That's who I think should be making that decision. I don't think it's the government's place to be deciding who is allowed to get what medical care if it's determined by a licensed physician. That's just kind of my take on it.
18. And it says that under the BC Infants Act, they will start injecting my child with cross-sex hormones, and I have 2 weeks to respond with legal action if I so choose. And so that's how I.
Well, yeah, because they don't want you holding up
action.
So you called your daughter a she, and you went to jail for that?
It's considered criminal violence to not use the preferred pronouns. It is no different than, let's say, I were to take a broomstick and whack one of my kids over the head. So they were treating it in a similar fashion, that mispronouncing my child was the equivalent of family violence.
Is she on the hormone pills now?
She is. The court ordered that she could do whatever she wanted.
Yeah, as is their right.
Now, what happened to...
Let's take a look. Canadian man jailed for calling his biological female. Robert Hoogland has been jailed for Canadian for calling biological... OP. Oh no, I don't want that. No. Let's see. Canadian father jailed. Oh, Christian Broadcasting Network. Yeah. Okay. Toronto Star. Maybe things have gotten too far. Father accused. Metro Vice. Can I not get like a Christian? Yeah. Look at Christian Concern. The Velvet Chronicle. Like it's all it. Yeah. Daily Wire. It's all the same. Yeah. Father jailed after referring to biology. Let's see. Ooh, does Reddit have some interesting take? Let's see. Article is very biased, so I looked up the New York Post to get another idea. So let's see. A Canadian man arrested this week this week after violating court order that banned him from speaking publicly about his son's gender transition. Jailed for refer. Yep. Can I find that? Was that New York Post? I'm always really weary of New York Post. Okay, let's see. Canadian man was arrested this week after violating a court order that banned. Yeah. Speaking publicly. Yeah, did he speak to a publication? Teenager was born. The High Court ordered the dad to not stand in the way of the 15-year-old's hormone therapy and to try to better understand gender dysphoria. The outlet reported he also was told stop speaking to the media about the case and warned that his public attempts to undermine his child's wishes was a form of family violence. Yeah, as usual. It's not like he just said it and the police. Like, they're such fucking liars, dude. Like, they want you to believe that over the phone, he was like, what about my daughter? And they were like, your son, sir. And he was like, you mean my daughter, sir? And then, like, 2 seconds later, the fucking Canadian, like, police were bashing down his door. Fucking Buck from fucking Siege. Fucking shotgun attachment. Sir, you've called your daughter. How dare you? Like, no, but yeah, he kept going to the press to try to basically publicly pressure his trans son into not going through with their transition. Yeah, this guy can get fucked. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. I had a feeling this was bullshit. Come to find out, it was. My God. Anyway, yeah.
The man in that clip is becoming common in Canada. Fathers are now often required in a supposedly free country to stay quiet as doctors castrate their children. And that's exactly what these off-label hormones do. They sterilize girls and women. They cause all kinds of other problems too, including early onset osteoporosis. We spoke to one person in the documentary who experienced some truly horrible symptoms, but according to the court system in Canada, fathers have no right to protect their daughters from any of that. They want to shut those parents up.
Why is it always fathers and daughters? Do you notice that?
And now apparently Twitter agrees with the courts in Canada.
Son of a bitch, there he is.
By the way, that father has a sentencing hearing this week and may be on his way back to jail. Back to jail in a case that began with him simply wanting to raise his daughter as his daughter and refer to her as such.
Now imagine us as a society, as a species, giving a shit about that father's opinion over the person who he's going to be referring to. Like, imagine this. It's like the idea that, like, no, I wanted a daughter. You're going to be a daughter. You're going to live the first 18 years of your life that you're under my roof as a daughter. And then you're going to spend the rest, the rest of your life also as a daughter because I want a daughter. Imagine thinking that that's the direction we should be taking. Maybe, and this is just a thought here. Maybe we should be more concerned with the people whose identities are actually being questioned here. For that person, for that trans boy, I think it was, I want them to just live their life in the fullest way possible. That father doesn't. They want a daughter, and they'll be damned if they go against that. That's like some sick shit to me.
Began with a father not wanting his daughter to be sterilized. Takes a special kind of company to want to partner with my show. I say a lot of things that make a lot of people angry, and this tends to scare off advertisers. That's just part of the biologically accurate pronouns in response to a trans activist.
Well, it's too bad we don't... Wait. Now, biologically accurate? Matt, do not tell me that you've ever referred to a car as she before. That's not biologically accurate. Like, it's always such a lie. I'm just done. I'm done. I'm so tired. I'm so fucking tired. Because it's the same argument. I say the same fucking thing every single time with these guys. Because they don't have anything interesting to say. They don't have anything new. They haven't brought arguments. They're just like, oh, nope, it's biologically accurate. Wait, that's not what gender is based on. Gender isn't referred to biologically. That's sex. And then you tell them that, and they're like, sex and gender are the same thing. You're like, they're not. Like, if I describe for you a snowman, there's nothing that biologically makes a snowman a man now, is there? Like, it's always the same shit. We can put this back, luckily. Like, I'm so tired. So fucking tiring. Anyway, okay, let's just play the game. We can put everything back to okay graphics again, and we'll just play. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. At the end of the day, it's all about. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's hit the lights. To me, it's always more. My headphone. My headphone cord. Okay, there we go. For me, it's always more about. Will more people be happy under this or that regime? And I think people's happiness is really important. What benefit do we as a society, even just me as an individual, get from somebody being referred to as the gender that they do not prefer? You sick fuck. Like, is Charles, is that a man right there? What his name is Charles. That's a pretty manly name, but there's nothing biologically accurate about that. Because again, it's not biological. Like, I don't know how many times. Okay, is there like a key that I'm missing? Like, that has to be it, right? Like, there's like a key somewhere. I just didn't pick it up, right? Yeah, it has to be a fucking key somewhere. Go away. Like, at the end of the day, like, what's really the... Isn't there a downstairs? There is. Okay. Is it down here somewhere? Nope, that's still locked too. Is there a crouch? There's not a crouch. Okay. Or no, isn't there? Is there not? Is there really not a crouch? Controls? There's oh. Input mapping. Is there not a crouch? Jump, sprint. Oh my god, there isn't. Okay. I totally thought there was. But at the end of the day, I think people's identity, how they're referred to, because that's what the debate is about, is what we as society can accommodate. Like, can we accommodate people not using the gendered terms that don't align with their biology? Is that something that we as a society are capable of facilitating? And I have never heard an argument like against it, because it's like, why can't we? What would fall apart? Like, how would society fall apart under the idea that, like, people who are born female end up wanting to identify as men, not as male, as men. And, if we have the scientific medical technology to align them visually under that, then why shouldn't we? Like, what's the, if we can do it, if we can do so scientifically, if we have the technology to do so, then why not? We have the technology to do, quite frankly, a lot of things. We can do a lot of things with modern science, modern medicine. Like, if we can cure cancer, why shouldn't we, right? Like, when it comes down to it, trans healthcare is an argument around healthcare and like medical, like the advancement of medical technology. And the way I see it, if we can do it and it's done safely, and by the way, I have yet to see an argument that somehow trans healthcare is dangerous. I haven't seen it yet. Then why not? And even if there is danger to it, well, there's danger with literally every other thing. Do you know how dangerous chemotherapy is? It's incredibly dangerous. But we don't argue constantly about, like, oh, should we really let people get get chemotherapy? It's like dangerous, and no, we've realized that, yes, is it dangerous, but is there, is the opposite worse? Well, yeah. The alternative is trans people don't get the healthcare that they need to not suffer from deep gender dysphoria that can lead to suicidal ideation. So it comes down to where Yeah, like, why can't we let these people get the medical care that they need if their mental health is going to deteriorate? Okay, give me a fucking key or something, dude. Do you have anything, you fuck? Okay. Guess not. I can't believe how stumped I am from this. I just don't know. Oh, wow, this is really quiet. Let's turn this up. Okay, that's better. Let's see. Yeah, that's better. Wow, this is very quiet, actually. Keep going. Oh, yeah, okay, that's better, I think. Should be. Well, here, we'll do this. Where's audio? Oh, shit, my master volume's, like, super low. Oh, okay. Let's do 100. There we go. Okay, cool. Now I can turn this down. Okay, there we go. That should be good. That should be good. God. Way too many video games fuck up your hand. Yeah, I'm so befuddled. So incredibly befuddled. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. We need to get inside. We need to get inside. Is he... Where is he? Sounds like he's over that hill. Do I just need to come back to this? I think I just need to come back to this. Maybe I just can't. Like, you have to find something to... I don't remember him kind of hinting that you need to go elsewhere, though. Did he? I don't think so. No, shit. Okay. I don't know. Fuck. Get it there. There we go. Ooh, shit. Oh, that was the wrong button. Why do you keep stop sprinting? What? Like, sprint the whole way, goddammit. That's stupid. Okay, we'll just hit the sprint button the entire time. There we go. Alright, okay, so it's not in here. It's not... Weirdly, it's not down here. Like, is there something? Nope, wrong one. Something in my inventory, maybe? What is this? No, it's a temple key. Pair of lockpicks. Okay, just break into chests. That's not this. Like a lot of explosives. But I think that's just because they work at a mine, right? I jumped in over here. Right. Like, this seems pretty obvious. You know, it's... You climb the boxes, you go... here. No! Fucking bullshit. God damn it. God damn it. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's try this again. Up. Nope. Oh. Okay. There we go. Can I pick these up? No? Right, this one upstairs. Can I pick this plank up, maybe? No? Yeah, I'm just... Whoa. No. Where is he? Out in the wild. It's not... Okay. Let's see. I'm like so fucking stoked. Okay, here we go. Well, okay. Should be okay. Okay. After talking to Ronnie, you'll get the cloud climber mission. Okay. Once you get free, jump that one. Okay. I'm with you so far. Broken rail. Before you hit the ledge to make it. Is it really like you just have to make the jump? Like there's not... Like there's not anything else to do. That's it. They just say make the jump. Once you reach the top of the second tower, you will see a broken rail on the first tower. In sight, sprint and immediately jump before. Yeah, it's literally like just make. Okay. Well, I don't think I can. I don't think you can. Like the thing just says like make the jump. I did get tired of trying to, like, it was basically, oh, just make it. Just jump and make it. It just doesn't feel like a jump you can just make standing. Like, let's see. Yeah, because it's like on the next floor, use the stairs to continue. Second tower, you should see a stack of climb up those, blocks on the next floor. Once you reach the top of the second tower, you will see a broken railing and the first tower in sight. Sprint and immediately jump before you hit the ledge to make it back to the first tower. What the fuck is that? Oh shit. It's good away. Fucking Charles. Shit. There we go. That was yeah, it's like, just make it. Fuck this mission. We're just not even gonna bother. Fuck this mission. I don't fucking know. I fucking give up with this shit. We're just gonna go to a different one. There are many side missions. We don't have to put up with this shit. Okay, cool. Let's see. Right. What is this one? Oh, okay. Yeah, we haven't really gone to the west end, I guess. Let's go. Oh, let's go. Oh, that's what that area is. Okay. That's loud. That's really loud. Let's turn this down a bit, shall we? The train is very hurt. There we go. Now the real question, where the fuck are we? Let's see. Okay. Well, I guess we can go meet this person? Yeah. We can go meet this person. Which way am I going? This way? That way? Yep. This is a long fucking walk. That's like the worst part. Jesus, God forbid. Like, God forbid he shows up. He'd show up now. He should be gone for a while, though. So that'll be good. Is this it? Oh my god. Okay, well. Went to the wrong place, but might be some stuff over here? No, I guess not. Okay, I need to go. Oh, there's like a path, kind of. Okay, cool. There's kind of, it looked like a trail, kind of. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Cool. Lovely. Yeah, I think there's just like kind of follow this vague ass trail. I'll take. Excuse you. I'll take that. Oh, big old body of water. see a pot. It's a witch.
Well, hello, darling. I'm making a fresh stew with ingredients from my very own swamp. But I don't have any meat at the moment. I smell a carcass on the island in the swamp, and if you wait over there and bring it back for me, although you'll need to be wary of Barry, the swamp monster.
Lovely.
Keep an eye out for him splashing around, and don't move if he gets close to you. As long as you stand still, he's as kind as a kitten.
Lovely. Why are all the creatures in this world, they all have mundane ass names? What do we have here? Swamp water, salt, clover, dirt, salt, meat, any kind, human included. Salt. Lovely. Alright, she said the island? Oh, it's right there. Okay, cool. Oh. Hello? Hello, some kind of creature. Oh, oh, hello. Am I going to move yet, or are you going to go away? Okay, he's going away. This is lovely. Just go away. Oh, that's not going away. You go away now. You go away now. You go away now, you heard? Huh. We got a big old fish. Now, getting back seems to be... Oh, some scraps. I'll take that. Part of me kind of wants to, like, activate it just because I'm curious what the monster is. It's probably not a monster at all. It's probably like... Oh my god, that was an actual, like, swamp creature. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Okay, did I at least get the fish? Even if I respawn at the train, if at least I don't have to do all that again, that'd be nice. That would be preferable. Inventory? Let's see. Fuck! I have to go all the way. Oh. Is that worth it? Maybe not. I don't really want to do that again. So let's go backwards. Where's my big machine gun? Machine gun. We're still gonna go with it. change this. Does it actually like animate the thing? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it does. Maybe if I had like my graphics on like ultra, it would have that little like animation. All right, we got 2 people. Yeah, 2 people up here, and then depending on how annoying their side missions are. Get down the wire here on the stream. Stop. Look at this guy.
You must be the archivist that Eugene told us about. We're happy you came to help us out of this predicament with Charles and that madman Warren. You know, that old train of yours will need some major upgrades if you want to take down Charles. There are some metal scraps in my barn that you could use to improve it. Here's the key to the barn. It's just up the path, but I'll mark it on your...
Okay. Well, that's nice. It's just Tony's key. Okay, cool. Okay. Pretty simple. What's the... Now I'm wondering what the fucking catch is. Like, I'm a bit weary. Cool. Check here. Even though Eugene has promised to send help once he reaches mainland, I've just realized he never mentioned if he'd return. I suppose he's the type of person to ignore the fine details of a plan. Everyone on the island is trying to find a way out of this mess. I can only hope that this archivist friend of his can work some magic. I don't care what strange things they've done before or what practices they use, as long as Charles ends up dead. Most folks around here want the same. But then there are those crazies that want to leave him be. That darn Warren's lost all his marbles. Okay. Is that it? That's it? That's it. Interesting. Okay, nothing. That's it. That's it. Okay, cool. I was actually kind of shocked. Let's see. Ooh, something tells me we're going to that house right there. I kind of wish there were more side quests that were like the Slender one. A little bit more involved. I understand it's like one guy just making a goofy game, but the fuck are you doing? You want a hug?
I need my pickles!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I ate the last jar of pickles I had in my house, and there's only one jar of pickles left on the island. My secret jar of pickles, locked away inside my pickle cave. I would have gotten them hours ago, but I lost my pickle key. Someone else on the island might have some locked pickles.
Okay. Where's this? Oh my god. Go all the way up there? Okay. Well, maybe... I guess we'll go on this hike to get this lady's pickle jars? Why was it that way? Yeah, okay. Alright, well, that's gonna do it for today. Oh yeah, it's just you get on this. Okay, it's on this trail. Alright, cool. Well, that's gonna do it for today. Yeah. Trying to think if I have... So, I don't have... I think, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday we'll be doing a... early stream? Yeah, Tuesday will be another kind of midday stream. But Monday and Thursday, as far as I can remember, will be the normal 7 o'clock hour. Other than that, oh, my back. Other than that, if you enjoyed any of what you saw, if you got some catharsis out of it, if you learned anything, if you just kind of hung out and lurked in chat, I always appreciate anybody hanging out. What you could do for me, the only thing I'm going to ask of you is if you hit that follow button on Twitch or the subscribe button on YouTube, one or the other. Both would be like super cool, but you know, just one of them makes you cool. So, you know, do that. Otherwise, have yourself a lovely day. Spider-Man comes out tonight, so gonna be watching that. You should too. You should treat yourself. Go see a good movie. And I'll see everybody on Monday. So, yeah. Everyone have a lovely day, and bye-bye.